Wouldn't. But hello everybody and welcome to Twitch with Goldbridge on Goldbridge TV. And it is working because I can see. Because what I do is I have screen open so it works. So I hope everybody is doing well. I'm just going to tweet it out as well. That always helps. And Champagne Supernova. We're live. How many people change? How many lives are living strange? Where were you while we were getting high? So basically what I'm going to be doing this afternoon is football chats and other chats as well. I'm very well, Kian, super tasked. I feel that since I've been on Twitch, I've not really sit back and sort of chilled out, not played a game and, you know, not been talking about England or anything like that. And basically, I had a couple of hours of chat left from the Euros chat stuff I did. So I basically said, let's keep it back till the end of July when the transfer window's in full stage and we'll do a couple of hours. So today we're going to do a couple of hours chatting about mainly football. I've got quite a few things to discuss. We're going to talk about Grealish better than Sancho, Grealish to Man City, Arsenal signing Ben White. We'll talk about Liverpool, a bit about Spurs, a bit about Chelsea, the striking situations for Man City and Chelsea. We'll also talk about the new season, predictions for the top four. Is it really going to be quite straightforward in relation to relegation and the top four, maybe even the top six? Also a bit of a development story around the Super League coming back. We'll talk about that as well. And I'm aware there's a few other things that people want to talk about. I know I did my Clash Creators video yesterday, and I know as well, I'm sure if people saw the video that Jack Mate put out and the tweets from Loz, and I will touch on that in a little bit as well, because I do think it's time to draw a line under it now. I don't think anything needs to continue, and I think that this space that I'm sat in right here now, and I'm not just talking about this chair, but this space we operate in, it's a very special space, and I think everyone should be helping each other. And I actually think everyone's on the same page for that as well. So we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But Orange Juice, thank you for subscribing with Prime. I've not got a couple of guns. They're basically wrists. I think it's like, remember Gareth from The Office? He used to use them, and I think Tim said, are you practicing for the National Wankathon? I have got a couple because I don't really think they do anything. They might make I don't know. I just quite like them when I'm streaming a long time because it sort of like relaxes me. So I've got, if you see those, that's what they are. Royal says, opinion on Clash of Creators and Lozcast. I will talk about that. And we will talk about those sort of things, but we'll do it a little bit later in the show. So I will be talking about that, and remind me if I don't talk about it. But ultimately, I want to start off talking about football. Thanks for renewing your subscription. If you do want to subscribe, you can subscribe with Prime. I forgot about that. I will drop a link in the video description as well. But yeah, it's just going to be a couple of hours of football chat on a Saturday afternoon, because I'd had this planned anyway, because obviously I did a lot of football chat over the Euros. And I had a couple of hours left with Twitch where I said I was going to do a certain amount of hours of Euros chat, and I had a couple of hours left, and they were like, when are you going to do it? And I said, you know what, I'll do it at the end of July, because it'll be a good time to talk about transfers in the upcoming season. So hence we're doing that today. And obviously United are not playing either, so it gives me that opportunity to do that as well. So I hope you're all doing very well. I will be very interactively taking your questions as well as talking about the latest news. I suppose the first topic that I want to talk about is Jack Grealish to Manchester City. That has been apparently accepted, that he is the offer has been accepted with Jack Grealish. Now look, I mainly get news on Manchester United because Manchester United are my team, but obviously I do that's football. I'm very nosy about football, and I do keep my ear to the ground, and I do have a lot of friends and colleagues and contacts around football, because I don't just focus on Manchester United, although that's where my heart lies. So I tend to get a lot of and go and find a lot of information about United because that's what interests me. But I did do a video a short while ago about Manchester United. About Jack Grealish. About 3 weeks ago it was. I've just dropped the link in there for Amazon Prime. You can subscribe to Amazon Prime. If you've got Amazon Prime, you can get a free subscription to a Twitch gaming channel each month for free. If you've got Amazon Prime. So, even if you've not got it, if your girlfriend's got it, or your boyfriend's got it, or your parents have got it, you can do it through that and get a free subscription each month. You have to renew it, but there you go. Ev Scandi thinks Grealish is actually worth 100 million. Please give us a follow, by the way. I think we're at 107,000. And career mode is still going. Don't worry, career mode is still going. I never said it would be every day, but I will tell you when I'm going to do it. Ornstein has reported that Arsenal want Martinez from Inter. He is for sale and the player is open to the move. I mean, look, you know, that's a great story to talk about. We will talk about that in a little bit then, because I like Lautaro Martinez. And he is a player that previously has been mentioned as being... I remember having Romano on the United stand last summer, and he was saying, look, lots and lots of money for him. So if Arsenal could pull that deal off, you know, great. And we will talk about Arsenal and Bren White during the show as well. We are going to talk about the Clash of Creators thing. You know, it might not be on everybody's thing, but I know a lot of people want to talk about it and get my opinion on it, so I will give you my opinion on it, but I will talk about that a little bit later, because we're going to be here for the next couple of hours, and I want to, you know, I want to spread it out. I want lots of good topics and lots of things to talk about. Thanks everyone who's subscribing. So let's talk about Jack Grealish to Manchester City. So I was told this 3-4 weeks ago, whenever I did the video, the Euros were still on, and I said that I'd been told that Grealish to Man City is basically a done deal. Now, people are like, well, how can it be a done deal? He's staying at Villa. Look, I love Villa. Villa is my local Premier League club. I've been there many times. I know a lot of Villa fans. I like the club. Got nothing against the club. And I think that, is Jack Grealish going to Man City 100%? I never go 100%, but I think it's over 90% that he's going to go to Manchester City. This has been worked on for a very long time. Hence, I got told about it 3 or 4 weeks ago that, you know, you don't break the British transfer record over 2 days. You don't just go, Aston Villa, there's 100 million quid. You're talking to Grealish, you're talking to his agents, you're talking to Villa, and this is probably why it got leaked 3 or 4 weeks ago that the deal was basically done. And now he's just coming back from holiday. Man City are a week away from the Community Shield game, and it's coming out. It's a huge amount of money. It's a massive thing. We're going to talk about the Super League in a minute, actually, but it's a massive thing Man City are doing, because Manchester City don't normally do this. They don't normally spend more than 60 million on a player. They're going to smash the British transfer record. And I think there's a bigger picture there, because if they did go and get Harry Kane, and we'll talk about the striker situations for Chelsea and Man City in a moment, but if they did go and get Harry Kane, they are going to be spending in excess of £200 million on 2 players, which a year ago they couldn't have done, and 2 years ago they couldn't have done. And I think this is down, and look, there's better minds who care more about this than me. I think this is down to the collapse of the of financial fair play. I think financial fair play is just done and dusted. It's absolutely gone. And I think, yeah, as Cam Robbins just said there, financial fair play in the mud. So that is an interesting aspect, because it's probably not being discussed enough. If you're a United fan or an Arsenal fan or a Chelsea, well, not even not a Chelsea fan, a Liverpool fan, most clubs really, not only are you competing against the best squad in the Premier League, you look at their bench, it's ridiculous. The best manager in the league. But you're also competing against a ridiculous amount of money that they've got and nobody else has got. United actually couldn't do what Man City are trying to do, get Kane and Grealish. We have got money, but not that level. Chelsea probably can. Arsenal no, Liverpool no, and the rest of the Premier League no, not really. So not only have they got the best manager in the world, but they've also got the best squad in the world, and now they've got the biggest fund in the world. Realistically, they should really be dominating football for a very long time, and our only hope really is Chelsea, because I just don't think many other clubs can deal with them if it's successful. Is Grealish worth £100 million? That was a question. The Great Touche, thanks for subscribing with Prime. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, is Grealish worth 100 million quid? I'm on the fence with this. Well, I'm not going to sit on the fence. Do you think Grealish is worth £100 million? I think that he almost is. I think he's 90 million. I think 90 million is his fee. I always thought 90 million. He's 25. He's without doubt one of the most exciting players in the Premier League, and therefore he's got to be one of the most exciting players across Europe, because the Premier League is the best league in the world. He is doing it consistently in a team that's very focused around him. And what I mean by that is, if I'm the manager of Burnley, if I'm Sean Dyche, I'm telling Tarkowski, kick Grealish into touch. If you deal with Grealish, it's over, right? If you play Aston Villa, you know that Grealish is the man, right? And you know if you swamp Grealish, they're in trouble. A little bit like for years, if you swamp Ronaldo and Messi, that you cut off their not their balls, but their hardest, their most influential outlets. I think Jack Grealish is sensational because everybody knows he's the best player at Villa, and he still delivers. Even though the manager of the opposition and the player of the opposition know he's the danger man, they don't keep him quiet. That, to me, shows you the quality of Jack Grealish, to be able to do it. I mean, look, if you drop Mason Mount in a Villa team, could he do as well as Grealish? If you drop Foden into the Villa team, could he do as well as Grealish? Sterling in a Villa team, Rashford in a Villa team, Sancho in a Villa team. Now, I'm not saying none of them can. I'm asking the question, out of all those players, how many of them could go and play for Villa next year and have the season that Grealish has had the last two? So Grealish has got pedigree. He's got character. He's got leadership. Because, he gets kicked all over the place. I think he's a £90 million player. I do. And therefore, 100 million's only 10 away. And also, let's just remember, Ben White's just gone for 50. If you're Villa, you can't say, oh, we'll take 70 when Ben White's just gone for 50. And I've got nothing against Ben White, and we'll talk about Arsenal a little bit, but Ben White is a Brighton centre-back who doesn't even start for England, and he's going for £50 million at 23. You cannot then say that Villa are wrong to want a 25-year-old attacker, one of the best attackers in the league, Jack Grealish, for 100 million. So it makes sense to me. It does make sense to me that Grealish is going for 100 million. And look, if it wasn't Man City, I'd be very excited for him, and I'd say what a great move it is, because I think he's a very good player. There's a poll you can get involved in as well. Jack Grealish worth, and then you can vote. 73% have gone with 70 to 90 million, which is where I would vote as well, and I will have a vote on that as well. So thanks very much for the vote there, whoever set that up. In fact, we've got two, I think. Have we got two? Happening now. Curly whirly. There we go. Okay, so that's Jack Grealish. He's obviously going to go. Well, the latest on Grealish is that he's got a choice. He can either go to Man City or he can stay at Villa. And again, we're going to be very interactive in this chat. If you're Jack Grealish, right, childhood Villa fan, live in the area, love Aston Villa, love that club. You're 25. Man City want to make you the best paid, most expensive player in British football history. And join the champions who got to the Champions League final, or stay at Villa. People can talk about loyalty. Forget about that. I've spoken to a few Villa fans over the week, and they've said, look, we'd love him to stay, but you can't expect him to stay in those circumstances. It's not like he's going to, imagine Newcastle had been taken over, right, by the Saudis, and they'd said, Grealish, we want you for 100 million. That situation, I would go, look, Newcastle might be a good team in 3 or 4 years, because just because you're owned by a billionaire doesn't mean you're winning the league the next year. Look at Man City, look at Chelsea. They didn't do it straight away. So if Grealish was going to billionaire Newcastle-owned football club and leaving Villa behind, that's different, because that's really about project money. Man City, yeah, it's about money, of course it is, but it's also about they are the champions of England. They did get to a Champions League final. It's money and it's football. I don't think he can turn that down. I don't think he can. I would be stunned if he stayed at Aston Villa. And I also know he's not going to stay at Aston Villa, is he? But look, hypothetically, no. And we can all talk about loyalty, but his loyalty has been getting Villa promoted and keeping them in the Premier League and then making them a very good team last year. They're never going to win the league, Villa. They're never going to get in the Champions League, Villa. And Grealish belongs in the Champions League. He's got to play in the Champions League. I want to see Jack Grealish, one of the best players in Europe, and Villa fans proud that he's one of your players. And I think a lot of Villa fans will be happy with that. They'll be sad, but I think they'll also be very proud. And I think they'll understand what he's doing. And on top of that, I want to see Grealish tearing it up in Europe as the most expensive British player in history, basically with a big up yours to grit Southgate, because this, Grealish should have been starting, but look, I'm not going back to the Euros. Grealish is better than City, says Ace RMB. Grealish wasn't loyal to Ireland, so I don't think he'll stay at Villa, says Sakari. Well, he loves Villa. What's he going to have to show for a career if he stays at Villa? He should win league titles and FA Cups at City, says Username. If I was Villa, I would say go. It's the same as Ronaldo. We didn't want him to leave, but he had to, so he could further his career, says Daniel. I'd stay 100%. People will never remember or care about what City wins, says Ice Mooney. Well, I think it's also a very clever signing by Man City as well, because I think Manchester City You know, they buy De Bruyne, they buy Sterling, they buy Aguero, they buy Ruben Diaz, and these are players that Pep is buying to win titles. But do they buy personalities? Do they buy, I suppose I'd call them the glamour boys, the players that not only are good on the pitch, but you know, are massively popular off the pitch? The Paul Pogbas. Sancho's going to be like that. Marcus Rashford's like that. Jesse Lingard was like that. You know, even Bruno to a certain extent is like that. So, you know, Cavani, only been there a year. These players that just, for different reasons, capture the public's imagination. Man City have had a real problem with that over the last decade. They buy players, but nobody, the press, the fans, just don't appreciate that. They're not. Man City are a very, very powerful team, and they're not going to go anywhere. But they've not been able to bridge the Liverpool, United, Arsenal, Chelsea gap of being, you know, liked by the press, liked and universally, globally popular. I think there are a lot of people who support Man City now because they win things, but I don't think there's a lot of people who support Man City because they're interesting or they're vibrant. And you know, United, we've not done anything for nearly 10 years, really, but we've still retained that glamour, and you know, Pogba's still massively popular, and I think Grealish is the sort of player that will give Man City that bit of flair. They've got loads of flair on the pitch, but flair off the pitch as well. DX says, what's your opinion on Tottenham's transfer business till now? Well, we're going to be talking about that as well. Do you think Villa will use the money well like City did and do well, or drop off? Says Cam Roberts. Well, Villa have, you know, just before we move on, let's be fair to Villa. I think last season they bought really, really well. Martinez in goal, fantastic. Matty Cash at right back, fantastic. Ollie Watkins up front, fantastic. So Villa aren't short of £1 or two anyway. I mean, Villa bought Bendia. I think he'll be a good signing for them. They wanted Smith Rowe. So they are very ambitious, Aston Villa, and they will try to be ambitious. And the £100 million they get for Jack Grealish isn't really money. Well, they need it, but they will spend money as well. So I think that I'd be very interested. I mean, Leon Bailey, good signing if they can make that happen. And I think Villa, what they need to do is, if I was Aston Villa, I'd be looking at Dumfries, I'd be looking at Leon Bailey, I'd be looking at Koopmeiners from Holland. Those sort of players, you know, like Liverpool, Leicester have been very good at it. Tillemans and, you know, Fofana. Those sort of players are what Villa should be looking for, because they're going to have sell-on value, but they're also good players. Don't think you're going to see Villa going and getting, you know, Firmino or something like that from a Liverpool. But I think Villa will be fine, and they have bought very, very well. Okay, let's talk about Kevin De Bruyne is the face of the Premier League. Kevin De Bruyne is so good as a footballer, but as an off-field player, I'd put him in the category of Mark Noble. I mean, he just doesn't inspire, does he? He's not, you know, and to me that I like Mark Noble. I like Kevin De Bruyne. I'm not bothered about whether footballers are doing Pepsi adverts or, you know, hanging around with rappers or James Corden. I'm not bothered. I'm not interested in that. I want them to perform on the pitch. I'm sure Man City fans would love Kevin De Bruyne over Paul Pogba, because over the last 5 years, Kevin De Bruyne has been better than Paul Pogba in the Premier League. And I'd rather have Kevin De Bruyne over Paul Pogba in those circumstances. But Man City need the whole package, and so do United. I'm not getting it. Kevin De Bruyne is inconsistent. Why are we talking about that? Mark, thoughts on the Clash of the Creators backlash by Loz, says Bumber Clark. We're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that, but we'll probably talk about that in about half an hour or so, because I want to get into football chat first. So, one thing I do want to talk about. Let's just put this. This is quite interesting. If you're into your football, we're going to be talking about Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea. We'll be talking about top 4 predictions. We're going to be talking about transfers. That's what we're here for. I will talk about the Clash of Creators thing, but we're going to talk Super League. The Super League is back. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. The Super League is back. It hasn't disappeared. Now, what are you talking about, Goldbridge? Well, listen to this. Barcelona, Real Madrid and Juventus say they will continue with plans for the European Super League, claiming to have successfully argued against any punishment by UEFA. What Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus are basically saying is that if the clubs that left, the English clubs, had stayed on board, they basically would have beaten anything UEFA are trying to do, and the Super League would be able to go ahead. So basically what I'm understanding here is that Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus want the Super League, feel that they've overcome anything UEFA are trying to do, and the Super League should still go ahead. The problem they've got is no Premier League clubs, no Super League. But remember, and this has been mentioned before, Perez did say, as the founding chairman of the Super League, that the 12 clubs that agreed to join the new Super League have binding contracts and cannot leave. Obviously, we know the 9 clubs that have distanced themselves from it are Man City, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Inter Milan, AC Milan and Atletico Madrid. And they were all handed punishments by UEFA back in May. And look, where the stance from the English clubs is that they won't do this again. They won't do this. But it is interesting in the sense that Real Madrid, Juventus and Barcelona very much think that the Super League dream is alive. And if that dream is alive, what does that mean? Because there is no Super League with Italian and Spanish clubs in it. That's not a Super League. That's something very different. And as we know, PSG won't enter it because PSG are linked to Qatar and the Qatar World Cup is a year and a half away. So PSG won't enter it, the German clubs won't enter it, and obviously the Premier League clubs won't enter it. So it's not a Super League, it's an average league. It's an Italian, it's a Spanish-Italian league. So I don't know. I would say be very, very careful here because I think there is the opportunity for this to get locked up in judicial review and legal wranglings, because if Perez is right that this contract that those clubs signed are legal and binding, you can't force United and Liverpool to go into a Super League. They cannot do it. Like, United fans won't allow it, Liverpool fans won't allow it, Arsenal fans won't allow it, Chelsea, Man City, Tottenham fans won't allow it. It's not going to happen, but the legal ramifications could be. Why are Real Madrid, Juventus and Barcelona pushing this? There's 2 clubs from Italy, AC Milan and Inter Milan, that don't want to do it. There's Atletico Madrid in Spain that have pulled out as well. So why are those 3 clubs, Juventus, Barcelona and Real Madrid, pushing it? Even if they can do it, you've only got 3 teams in it. What are you going to do? Invite bloody Sassuolo or something like that? You know, Getafe. Gets off me. But the reality is, are they doing this? And I don't know, but my fear, and I said it a couple of months ago, my fear is the reason they're doing this, because Perez cannot be sitting there thinking, and I think Akala's right, Perez cannot be sitting there thinking that they're genuinely going to get the Super League up and running again. They're not going to go, fan like Nessov, Gavin and Stacey. Manchester United. UEFA, we've beat the legal wranglings, come in. Oh, we're on our way now. Then Man United will be going like, shit, we can't do this. Have you seen what happened? We had a game cancelled because of this shit. Get away. That's not going to work. So Perez and Madrid and Juventus and Barcelona, they can't go, we're going ahead with it, you've got to come back. But what they can do, if it's legally binding, is they can say, you signed to be part of the Super League, you've left, it's legally binding, the fine for that is 100 million quid. And if they can get 100 million quid off the 9 clubs that have left, that's 900 million quid. 300 million pounds for Juventus, Barcelona and Real Madrid each. And I think that's what this is about. I don't think they think they've got a cat and owl's chance of the Super League happening. I really don't think there is. Premier League clubs, I don't know what it's like in anywhere else, the Premier League clubs are under no illusion. They will never get away with a Super League. Never. It's going to happen, isn't it now? I've said never. But they're never going to get away with it. The fans won't allow it. The media won't allow it. Nobody wants a Super League because we've got a Premier League that we're very happy with. And I think people like the Champions League. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is about the money. So I think that what Real Madrid and Juventus and Barcelona have hung around for is, and remember, they will be who's paying the legal fees? There is judicial review on this ongoing. Who's paying for that? Real Madrid, Juventus and Barcelona must be paying for this ongoing legal dispute. They want cash back. They want money back. They want money in their pocket. They want Man United, Liverpool and everybody else to have to pay for coming out of this legally binding contract that they say exists. And if that's £100 million off every club, you can understand why Real Madrid, Juventus and Barcelona are pushing it, because, last man standing, isn't it? It's like a game of poker. Everyone goes in with 100 million quid. People pull out and fold. That money stays on the table. The three winners could be Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus. So I think that's very interesting what's going on there. Also, let's not forget, United didn't... I can only talk for United. I imagine it's the same with Liverpool and Arsenal. There is very clear thing here that we as fans go, up yours, Perez and Real Madrid. Swivel on it. Your Super League's dead. Get stuffed, right? Man United have just bought Varane in a very amicable way. We've just negotiated with Real Madrid in a very amicable way. Varane's been very respectful of Madrid. He's coming to Manchester United. There's not been any bad feeling in that transfer. We've just taken one of the world's best centre-backs from Real Madrid. And it's been very amicable. So we might be mistrusting Real Madrid and going, forget your Super League. I don't think Man United and Real Madrid's relationship is bad. I think Man United may well be, we'd love to be in the Super League, but can you see what our situation is? So you just don't know if it's completely over. But I think this is about money, and I think this is Real Madrid and Barcelona are desperate. And Juventus to a certain extent. They are poor clubs. At the moment, they are poor clubs and they need money desperately. So I think that's what it's all about. Do I think that the Super League is going to continue like it did a couple of months ago? No, I don't think that's what this is all about. But Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus are very adamant that, and I think if you're not aware of that, you do need to be aware of that. The Super League thing is not over. I think there are further things to come, and it could be big fines for all the Premier League clubs that goes into the pocket of Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus. And if that does happen, you've got to look at Glazers and Henry at Liverpool, whatever his name is at bloody Arsenal, forget Kroenke. You've got to look at those clubs and say, look, we won't forget what you did. You can buy Varane and Sancho, you can get Konate in, you can buy Ben White, but the reality is you went behind the backs of football. You went behind the backs of your own fans and you signed agreements. And to be honest with you, if I am really honest here, my anger, if Man United have to pay £100 million to Real Madrid and Barcelona and Juventus to leave the Super League, my anger is not with Perez. My anger is with United. And that should be the same with Liverpool and everybody else. Because no matter what happens in the future, and I hope these owners do learn from what they did, they absolutely shat on football and football fans. Like Man United, we had 1958, the darkest day in our history where we lost the Busby. Well, we basically lost we didn't lose all of them, but the Busby Babes was a really exciting, vibrant young side. The Munich tragedy. 10 years later, we finally did win the European Cup in '68. We won it again in '99, the treble, and '08. The Champions League / European Cup is massive for Manchester United, and it's massive for Liverpool. It's massive for Chelsea now, and not for Man City and Arsenal yet. You haven't won it, but maybe you will one day. And Tottenham. I always forget about Tottenham. So, but our club wanted to take us out of the Champions League effectively to go into a franchise Super League. Disgusting. And they did that behind our back. But if they did do it behind our back, which they did, and they did sign a contract, is Perez not wrong to say, you signed a contract saying you wouldn't leave and you left? That's £100 million fine. We deserve to, in a way, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, Man City, they deserve to have to pay that fine. But who's the loser again? We are, because we're paying bloody 100 million quid out of our club. The Glazers should pay it. So I don't think in summary, the Super League is not over. I don't believe in a million years any Premier League club will end up playing in it. But I think the confusing point is, why is it not over? Well, it's because Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus keep pushing it. And they keep pushing it because I think it's about money. They're never going to get the Premier League clubs back in. And they need the Premier League clubs. But if those contracts were binding and we've left, there will be a severe financial penalty. And I'm saying 100 million, it might be 200 million. I don't know. And I think that's what Juventus, Barcelona and Real Madrid are doing. They want to collect those fines off the 9 clubs that have left and share the 900 million between those 3. Which you can't blame them, really. I blame all clubs for trying to do the Super League. But Juventus and Real Madrid and Barcelona, they're trying to get something out of the situation. And I think that's what's happening there. As for the Super League in general, never liked it. horrible, horrible thing. I hope people never forget what these people tried to do to our football game. And I always look back on the Super League with horror and affection, because I've never done things that just encompassed football. Everybody was on the same page, and it was horrific. And I think it has been forgotten, but it's not over yet. But remember this: we never should have gone into it in the first place as Premier League clubs. And the Premier League is basically the Super League anyway. Why the Premier League fell into that trap, it was just greed. The Premier League is the best league in the world. It's been constructed in the best way possible compared to other leagues. And the reason Real Madrid and Juventus and Barcelona want the Super League is because they want the Premier League, but they can't parachute themselves in. So they want the Premier League. Premier League is strong. Villa, we're just speaking about Villa. They're going to get £100 million for Grealish, and they're already quite a rich club. Everton have got money. It's, it is what it is. But look, let's see what happens with it. The Super League is dead in relation to Premier League clubs, but there might be big fines coming. Fancy a game of FIFA, says Ads. I'm not playing FIFA today, but I look forward to playing a bit of FIFA. So let's move on to the next topic. We've spoken about the Super League. We've spoken about Grealish. What do we want to talk about next, everybody? Let me do a topic of yours. 11Q2K says, did you lose your partnership badge? Isn't showing. I don't think I ever had a partnership badge, 11-2K, to be honest with you. Levin, go live at about 4 o'clock on your channel and we'll rage you. Lewandowski. What a show that was last night. Really enjoyed it. On the United stand, that was. Pogba topic. Oh, no one wants to talk about Pogba. Callum of the corner. Arsenal for top 6 if they sign Martinez. Ice Moon. Let's talk about Arsenal. Let's talk about Arsenal for a moment. It won't take long. Lautaro Martinez has been linked to Arsenal. Now, I've got to say, Lautaro Martinez was a player that United were tentatively linked to last summer. And it was about 90 million quid. If he ends up going to Arsenal, that's a cracking deal. That is. We're going to talk about Clash of Creators and all the beef and stuff that's going on in a minute. But we'll talk about Arsenal first. With Arsenal, Lautaro Martinez would be a fantastic signing. I think Ben White is a good signing for Arsenal, but massively overpriced. But I can't argue with that because Manchester United... And I'm going to do top 6 predictions, Daniel, and all that jazz. Username says, why would anyone want to go to Arsenal? What is there for them? I think... Look, Arsenal can't sit there like that. You can't sit there like that as Edu, Arteta and Kroenke and go, who's going to want to come to us? We're shit. Their job is to make that situation change. Now, the way you change that is by bringing in players that are going to make you a better team. Arsenal have finished 8th the last 2 years. There's a big hint there. Hossam, thank you very much for subscribing. If you want to subscribe, I'll drop the link in the video description for you. Free on Amazon Prime. Link there. But if Arsenal got Lautaro Martinez and Arsenal got Ben White and they get a midfielder, although it looks like they're going to keep Xhaka now, could Arsenal get in the top 4? No. Welcome to Adrian Champ 69. Thanks for subscribing. No, they can't get into the top 4 this season. Absolutely not. And I'll explain that why in a few minutes' time. But that... Look, am I going to be wrong? I'm not going to be wrong. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be wrong on this. Arsenal won't get top 4. But it doesn't mean that Arsenal fans should give up hope. You never know. What if it goes terribly wrong for United or terribly wrong for Liverpool again, and Arsenal have a really good season and they slip in 4th place? Of course it could happen. I don't think it will happen, but of course it could happen. But look, you finished 8th the last 2 years. Progression would be 5th, 6th, 7th. You've got to be going for 5th. Arsenal have got to go for 5th and then hope that somebody slips up and they slip in. They've got no European football. They've got all week off. They've got all week off. They can go to Legoland. They can go London Eye. They can go Natural History Museum. There's lots of things to do in London. And they've got the whole week off. They're not playing in Europe. So that's an advantage, and we've seen that advantage happen before. I remember when Liverpool nearly won the league under Brendan Rodgers. Correct me if I'm wrong, they had no European football. And they played this energetic football where they beat a lot of teams in the first half an hour. And their fitness levels were superb. And I think Leicester did it as well. Did Leicester not win the league when they didn't have any European football? So there's a big opportunity for Arsenal this year, playing no European football at all, to be a very fit, energetic side. Now, Arsenal fans will be saying in the chat, you're having a bloody laugh with Arteta. He plays part of the bus football. Well, this is the thing I've been waiting for with Arteta anyway. I think this season is make or break for Arteta. He could easily be sacked, or he could easily have a really good season, and I can't predict it. Chelsea won the league having no football as well, says Louis, European football. So it's a massive season for Arteta, but Arsenal can't just give up. They've got to try and do the signings they can do. And without doubt, Arsenal are a big club. Without doubt, Arsenal have got an attraction, and they're based in London. So I could see Lautaro Martinez in an Arsenal shirt. It's a very similar signing to what Alexis Sanchez was all those years ago. I could see it happening. They've obviously got some money, but I think they've got to try. They've got to try, and I think it's very easy to say, well, they're never going to get top 4, but they might get top 6, and then next year they might get top 4. So I think if they can get Lautaro Martinez, it's a good signing. I thought Thomas Partey was a good signing. I thought Pepe was a good signing. I thought Gabriel was a good signing. And I think Ben White's a good signing. The problem Arsenal have is I don't think they make bad signings. They just can't seem to rid themselves of this terminal inconsistency. And it's not... United are inconsistent, but we still finish in the top 4. Arsenal are terminally inconsistent. They They end up closer to mid-table than they do top of the table. They need to... This season's huge for Arteta. And I think Arsenal fans, if you gave Arsenal Conte, they'd be very excited about this season because they'd be like, it's a rebuild season. We've got no European football. I think the problem with Arsenal is they know this is a massive season for Arteta. Is he the right man? And I suppose it's very similar to Manchester United. A lot of people love Arteta, a lot of people love Ollie, but there is that question mark. Are they the right person? And I think it's going to be very interesting to see. But it'd be a good signing if they got Lautaro Martinez. On Ben White, they've just overpaid. They've overpaid for Ben White, haven't they? Let's be absolutely honest. They've overpaid for Ben White, but we overpaid for Harry Maguire. We overpaid for Harry Maguire by about 50 million. We paid 80 million for Harry Maguire, Man United. He was a 50 million pound centre-back, so we overpaid by 30. We overplayed for Wan-Bissaka. He wasn't 50, he was probably 35. And I think the same with Ben White. I think Ben White's a 35 million pound centre-back. He's gone for 50. You always overpay with these English players, and that's the problem. Christian Romero to Spurs says Tuffers. We'll talk about Spurs very quickly. I think it's the English tax, JD, yes. Please give us a follow if you're watching, by the way. I've got no idea. I do enjoy Twitch. I just think Twitch is just I like Twitch. It's a very different community. It's I'm trying to relate it to something, and I don't know what to relate it to. It feels less corporate, even though it's owned by Amazon, isn't it? But it just feels very community-led, Twitch, which will be interesting. We'll talk about Clash of Creators in a minute. But yeah, I do like Twitch, so give us a follow if you're watching. My FIFA career mode is on here. What the fuck is... Why won't it go to... I'll be back in a minute. I'll still be live, but I've just lost my page here. On Spurs, I don't like the appointment of Nuno. Don't like the appointment of Nuno. I find his football very boring, and I don't think he fits with Spurs at all. So, yeah, don't like the appointment of Nuno. But, that's up to them. They've done it now. That's up to them. Christian Romero would be a good signing from Atalanta. He had a very good season last year. Can't knock that. Let's see if we can get to 108,000 followers today. Please give us a follow. We're on 107,500. So please give us a follow. But yeah, I think that... I suppose Spurs leads us into a three-way. And everyone loves a three-way. And the three-way is Spurs, Kane, Chelsea... striker situation, and City. It's a four-way. We're having a four-way. So Spurs' future this season revolves around Harry Kane. You keep Harry Kane, Spurs have potential. You take Harry Kane out, Spurs are an unknown quantity. For me, Spurs become Everton without Harry Kane. With Harry Kane, they become Leicester. And Leicester, I think, will be top 6. Spurs with Harry Kane, you'd expect top 6. Spurs without Harry Kane and Nuno in charge, I could see them being, 8th. So Harry Kane is what Spurs are all about. And I'd be a little bit worried if I was Spurs. I'm not over the moon with the appointment of Nuno. It's a real shame they didn't get Conte. Welcome to Anish2079. The positive thing for Spurs is that if they do keep Harry Kane, I think they can have a good season. They've still got very good players. Son signed a new contract. Lloris is still there. Reguilon will still be there at left back for another year. I think it was a 2-year loan, wasn't it? So, Højbjerg's a very good midfielder. They've got Mora's still there. They can buy a couple of players. They're good, but I don't rate Nuno. I think he's too defensive, and I think Spurs fans will not like that brand of football. But maybe he'll make them better organised than and username 6700 right. Nuno did get Wolves into the Europe. I think Nuno's very, very, very similar to Mourinho, but he might be more effective than Mourinho because I think Mourinho fell off in the Premier League, didn't he? So yeah, for me, Spurs, it's all about Kane, really. Even if you sell Kane and you bought bloody Jesus or Sterling, it's still, you're talking one of the world's best strikers. Unless you're going to buy Erling Haaland, and even he might not fit you the way Kane did. Kane's about Spurs season. And I just want to say about Kane as we move into the striker situation, Chelsea and Man City want to buy a top class striker. You've got Lukaku, Haaland and Kane, who Chelsea, Man City would both love any of those 3 players. Probably Man City I don't think would like Lukaku because of his style of football, but I think Pep wouldn't mind Haaland or Kane. Can you get them? Can you get those players? I'm stunned the Harry Kane situation has become what it has become. Welcome to Ayan Rashid. Thank you for subscribing. And please give us a follow if you're watching. But yeah, I'm stunned by the Harry Kane situation because what was it? The end of May, Harry Kane wants to leave Spurs via Sky Sports. That's leaked from Kane, that is. Or somebody very close to Harry Kane. Because Spurs don't want that out there. Harry Kane is basically put himself in the shop window. I don't think you finish a season and put yourself in the shop window unless you know someone's going to buy you. Like you just don't do that. It's like being married, isn't it? Right? You're married, a couple of kids maybe. Let's not bring any kids into it. Why should they suffer? You're married, right? You're married. You're happy, okay? And it's your fifth year of marriage, and you look at the situation and you go, I like this marriage, but actually, I want a bit more excitement. She's not really got much in the bank. I want to go I want to go Barbados. I want to go Disney World. I'm fed up of going to Cornwall, right? Do you start putting yourself out there, finding options before you leave, or do you go, I want to leave you. I'm off down the Chasers tonight. I'm off down the nightclub. You go down the nightclub and no one's interested in you. Oh shit, I've got to go back home now. So, you know what I mean? I think that's a good analogy for the Harry Kane situation because it doesn't make sense to me that Harry Kane basically says to Spurs, I want to go, and then he's going to come back because no one's going to buy him. He must have had somebody to buy him. And where are they? So, it's an interesting one with Harry Kane. I think Chelsea would love Harry Kane. I just don't think Spurs, Chelsea, London, Levy would allow that to happen. But Man City, can they spend £150 million on Harry Kane and £100 million on Grealish? If they can, football's in trouble. If we've now got a club in the Premier League that's already the title holders spending £250 million on 2 players, the league is in trouble. And people can say that we shouldn't have financial fair play. We fucking should. We definitely should. You cannot have a team that can go and spend that sort of money without repercussion. So we'll have to wait and see how that builds out. Spurs want Zuma though, says Ohanda. Look, I've always said Chelsea, Kane, that would be fantastic. And Sol Campbell went from Spurs to Arsenal. That's worse. So never say never. But I don't know how that's going to build out. I really, really don't. City basically sponsor themselves anyway, says Ads Music. Well, look, people cling on to these emails and stuff about Man City. For me, I haven't paid any attention to this for a long time. I was asked on a podcast in the week what my thoughts were about it, and I said, look, I don't know. I'm not an expert. If Man City have done something wrong or they haven't done something wrong, I've got no confidence that they'll get done for it anyway. And obviously, if they've done nothing wrong, they shouldn't get into trouble anyway. But even if they have done something wrong, I've got no confidence they'll get into trouble anyway. I've got no confidence in UEFA. I've got no confidence in FIFA. They're both organisations that have had levels of accusations of dishonesty against them. I think money talks. And I tell you what, if money talks, Man City are sprinting. They'd win the gold medal at the Olympics. You know, they've got money. They've got massive amounts of money. I don't think Man City will get in trouble for anything. Do I think they've done anything wrong? To me, I don't understand how they could ever spend the money they did when they were first starting out without pumping money in from other organisations through sponsorship. But was that illegal? I don't know. And to be honest with you, we all play the game, we all buy the shirts, we all buy the subscriptions to Sky Sports. At the end of the day, we're all party to it. Ultimately, we're owned by people who wanted to take us into a Super League and turn their backs on our fans. We love the game, but the people who are running it, do you trust them? I don't trust them. People don't understand that we didn't get into trouble because we didn't do anything, says Atco. And to be honest with you, if we have got any City fans in there, I'm not actually that bothered about that, because I think it does come across as sour grapes. We as football clubs and football fans put our fate into the hands of UEFA and FIFA in the Premier League. Unfortunately, I don't trust those organisations. So whether it's Man City, whether it's PSG, whether it's Chelsea or any other club, Juventus, that have had things they've been accused of over the years, ultimately, the people that are going to be trying to find them guilty are people I do not trust. So whether Man City have done anything wrong or not, I don't think they'll get into trouble for it, because I don't trust the people who are looking into it. I think there's a level of corruption there. So look, I ain't going to spend any energy thinking about whether Man City are cheats or not. I'll call them an oil club. I'll say they're invented in 2008 because I know it winds their fans up. But do I expect anything to happen to them? No. And ultimately, it's still 11 against 11, and my club's a rich club. My club is a rich club. Manchester United is a rich club. Unfortunately, we're owned by non-United fans who put us into debt and run the club badly. I'm more focused on what's going on at my club. I think Arsenal fans should be the same. Liverpool fans should be the same. Because Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool revenue should be more than Man City being pumped in anyway. But unfortunately, we're owned by people who turn us into businesses. Asad says, to be honest, I couldn't give a bollocks about the financial side of things. I will be back. I am still here. Always good to have a stretch anyway. But just picking up my phone. So, what should we talk about? I've still got loads to talk about. I do want to talk about the upcoming Premier League. We're going to be live for about an hour and a bit anyway, for definite. So let's get into chat on here. Clash of Creators. Do you want to talk about that next, or should we do that at 3? Let's do that at 3 o'clock, because then everyone can get ready for it. So we'll do that at 3 o'clock, because then that can be the second hour. The Clash of Creators thing is, well, I'll tell you all about that in a minute. But Lewandowski's got a rehearsal at 4. No worries. No worries. See, I'm always trying to help out creators, you see. We'll raid somebody at 4 o'clock. Lovely stuff. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. See, somebody said, what is Clash of Creators? I'm actually just going to pop onto Twitter here. Because I did, I'm aware I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, I'm on bloody Instagram, I'm on Twitch, I'm on YouTube. So I do want to just service this questions thing I asked. Okay, so this morning I put a tweet out saying I'm on Twitch this afternoon for a few hours doing a pre-arranged chat. Who want what topics? Let's have a look if anybody likes one. Do you really think United have a chance of winning the league? Not if we get a midfielder. We'll whiz through some of these. If Sancho was last summer's transfer money, we have only spent 42 million, so should be able to get a midfielder. That was from Isaac. Views on the new financial fair play rules, says Ashtush. If anyone knows the new financial fair play rules, please let us know. Where was the career mode yesterday, Mark? Says Stephen Cook. Yeah, give us a follow for career mode. This is where I do career mode. The reason it didn't happen yesterday is because I had to do a video for my own channel on YouTube, which was the Clash of Creators one. And then I just sort of ran out of time yesterday. I was busy, so just didn't get a chance to do it. And then last night I was down the pub. Please include this in the stream. Does City need Grealish? Well, we've spoken about Grealish. You need what you want as a manager. You need what you want, don't you? Do City need Grealish? Well, you know, as I said, going back to the analogy before, you know, does a man who's got a beautiful wife need to get divorced and get another wife? No, but maybe they don't want that wife anymore. Maybe they want another one. And let's not be sexist here. Does a woman who's got a beautiful husband need to divorce him and get another one? You know, they might well be a beautiful partner, but there might not be anything upstairs. They might not like, you know, Netflix and chill. They might not like watching films. So, you know, let's look at Pep's team. He's got a beautiful front line. And I'm not talking in a, you know, attractive way. I'm talking in a footballing way. He's got Foden, he's got Sterling, he's got Mahrez, he's got Bernardo Silva, he's got De Bruyne. 5 attacking options who can all play left, right and cam. That's where Grealish plays. Does he need Grealish when he's got those 5? No, he doesn't. But obviously, maybe 2, 3, 4 of those, he's like, I'd rather have Grealish. You can't knock it. He's got all his career basically. He's had a blank checkbook. He's on FIFA career mode, isn't he? With cheats. Pep's a great manager, but he's always had an open checkbook. I don't knock him for going and getting Grealish. To be honest, if the option's there, I'd get it. What game? Okay, most overrated Premier League legend of all time. That's one for you lot. Most overrated Premier League legend of all time. Let's go to the chat. Most overrated Premier League legend of all time. Oh, it's hard because I'm very. Go with you lot here. I'll have a think. Skulls, shut up, username. Joe Cole's not a Premier League legend, but he would be overrated. Beckham actually was not overrated. See, some of you lot will say names and you weren't even old enough. Gerrard's not overrated either. Gary Neville, is he a Premier League? Well, I sort of agree with you, Gary Neville. And I don't think Gary Neville himself... Well, mate, I don't know. I've never met Gary face to face, so I don't know whether he's egotistical or not. I actually saw... We're going to talk about Clash of Creators in a moment. And I actually saw a clip on Twitter yesterday of Loz from the kickoff saying that he met Wayne Rooney in real life. And Wayne Rooney and his agent were a complete pair of bellends. It's always interesting about not meeting your heroes because I've met a couple of United players who were bellends. I've never met Gary Neville though, so it's clearly not him. So I don't know how egotistical Gary is. Doesn't seem it when he's on chat. I really enjoy his punditry and commentary. But I don't... I can understand what Ryan's saying there, that Gary Neville's an overrated Premier League legend. The reality is, at right back, how many great English right backs have there been? How many great Premier League right backs have there been? Therefore, Gary Neville goes down as a Premier League legend as a right back. Was he amazing? He was a very good right back. I watched Gary play for England in the early noughties and pocket really good wingers. His crossing ability was fantastic. I don't think he's overrated, but I see why people think it because, you know, I've even read Roy Keane's book and he's like, you know, Gary Neville just worked hard. He wasn't actually naturally talented, but I think he accepts that himself. And what a role model. Somebody who maybe wasn't naturally that talented, but worked hard and achieved that. You know, that's the sort of... We all look up to Messi and Ronaldo who've got God-given talents. And then we take the piss out of Gary Neville who didn't have that and worked hard and showed that anybody can do it. So I think, you know, Gary probably deserves more respect than he gets, really. Pogba as a Premier League legend would be overrated because he's not a Premier League legend. He could be and maybe should have been, but he's not one. So if he is considered one, I would agree that Pogba's overrated as a Premier League legend, even though I love Pogba. Bergkamp, not overrated. Company, not overrated. Di Canio, yeah, Di Canio's Di Canio's, if Di Canio is, that's the sort of thing. That's what we're here for, Bumber Clark. You're absolutely spot on. If people think Di Canio is a Premier League legend, that is the prime example of an overrated one. And West Ham fans are going to go mad. But, you know, you think about Premier League legends. You're talking Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer, John Terry, Steven Gerrard, Nemanja Vidic. I'm losing my head here. Vidic. Matic, no, probably not. But I don't... Di Canio is not a Premier League legend. He's not. He scored some good goals for West Ham. He's not a Premier League legend. He's just a bloody... He's not even an English Letitia, is he? I don't know what Di Canio was. But Christian, 18, thanks for subscribing, and Apprentice as well. You can subscribe with Prime for free. You get a free subscription to Twitch Gaming each month if you've got Amazon Prime, and you can do it and activate it through the link I've just whacked in there. Right, that was good. I enjoyed that. We're approaching 3 o'clock, so we'll move topics then. What is your expectations of the transfer window? Well, watch United stand. CFC Dom says Champions League winners, dark horse, top goal scorer, early knockout, and the English team chances of winning it. Early Champions League winners, contenders next year. I think it's going to be a good one. I think PSG will be strong. I think Bayern Munich will be strong. I think PSG and Bayern Munich are the only non-English teams that can win the Champions League. And yeah, from the English teams, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and if United do what I hope they can do, then yeah. So it'll be one from them 6, I think. I don't see anybody else doing it. Tom White says, thoughts on Lawrence situation, chatting shit about Clash of Creators. We will be talking about that. I know a few people want to talk about it. I'll talk about it in a bit. My wife left me because I watched too much United Stand, says Jared. Well, thankfully, there's lots of content to keep you happy when she's gone. What a prat she is. Best ever Premier League CDM, says Louis Day. Premier League is getting worse because score are getting predictable. Declining slightly in my opinion. Okay, can you expect Liverpool to fall away when they haven't improved their squad? Liverpool, yeah, let's talk about Liverpool for a moment, actually. We've got a couple of minutes before 3 o'clock, and then we're going to talk about the Clash of Creators thing, because I know some people are interested in that, and it's very Twitch-centric. Make sure you give us a follow. Makaleli was overrated. He was very good. How good was Steven Gerrard, says Mark. I mean, look, I don't like Liverpool, but this fits into the same category as what I tweeted yesterday, or the day before. I said, it's difficult because I don't like Liverpool, but I'm so happy Van Dijk is back. It's almost like class appreciating class. He's a world-class player. I'm not saying I'm world-class, but, you know, I was so glad to see Van Dijk back after that bad injury because he's one of the best centre-backs in the world. But he plays for Liverpool. Steven Gerrard, I spent most of his career, all of it, I disliked him because he played for Liverpool. But they never won anything. Well, they won a Champions League, but never liked Gerrard, never liked Lampard. But I can appreciate that they were fantastic players and they're definitely Premier League legends. You can be a legend without winning the Premier League, yeah. We could wind Gerrard and Liverpool fans up, but you can be. So, Liverpool next season, just very quickly, are they in trouble? I know a few Liverpool fans, obviously Craig Anfield agenda, and I've noticed a lot of Liverpool fans are almost in the situation United have been sometimes, where we know we need to buy players and they're not really doing anything. I look at that Liverpool team, first of all, last year, and I thought Klopp did a fantastic job to get them top 4. I did not think they were going to do that. So first of all, well done Liverpool in a really terrible season, considering they were champions. What a crap season that was for Liverpool. So to get top 4, well done. It's almost like a reset button right off last year. And I think that's what Liverpool are doing. The problem they've got, in resetting last year and pretending it doesn't exist, we're back in the Champions League again. You're no longer the champions because Man City and Chelsea have moved ahead of you. How far have they moved ahead of you when you've got your defence sorted? And that's what Liverpool are looking at. They've brought Konate in. I like Konate. I used to talk about Upamecano and Konate quite a lot on the United stand because we needed a centre-back. And the popular choice was always Upamecano. But there was always a very good debate about, is Konate that much worse than Upamecano? That, you know, he's a good signing, Konate. So Liverpool with Konate, Van Dijk back, Joe Gomez back, I imagine Matip back, you're set. You're never going to see Nat Phillips and Robbie Williams at the back again. So, centre-back situation for Liverpool is sorted, and that will change a lot. No more Fabinho at the back. That will help Trent and Robertson get forward more, because they didn't go forward as much last year because defensively they knew they had to help out. So I think Liverpool's big hope this year is that with the centre-backs back, their midfield is stronger because they're not playing people out of position at the back. Their full-backs can get forward more. They can press and be energetic. There was an amazing stat last year about Liverpool comparable to the year they were champions, that their pressing and energy stats were down something like 10, 20, 30%. So if they can get all that back, and why wouldn't they? It's the same players coached the same way with the same coach. Then Liverpool become a very, very dominant force again. The question mark is, have they mixed it up a little bit? Have they mixed it up enough? You bring one centre-back in, you get Van Dijk and Gomez back from injury. You're almost trying to get Liverpool back to being what they were 2 years ago. Well, football's moved on. Everyone's 2 years older. Can Liverpool do it again with the same base of 30? Because Liverpool do it with the same 15 players as well, especially in the front line. It's Mane, Firmino and Salah. If one of them gets injured, who's going to play? Well, Jota was a good signing, but I look at Liverpool and I think Firmino should be the backup. They need a player to come in. I mean, Bumclark says that I think Liverpool should sign Lautaro Martinez. I think if Liverpool brought in a player that can play where Firmino plays and really compete with Firmino, that would be something that would make them more amenable on the eye. But they're going to be top four. I just don't. And Evscan says they need a striker. Surely they're going to be top four. I've got no doubt about that. They will be top four. But where they will be in relation to top four, I don't know. Is the honest answer. I haven't even thought about it enough yet to think about where they could be. But the top four. But I'm very confident, and we were going to talk about this, and maybe we'll talk about it in a little bit because I'm conscious that people want me to talk about a certain other thing. But I'm very aware that in my mind the top four writes itself. John is every day. Thanks for subscribing, John. But I think the top four is Man City, Chelsea, United and Liverpool, and maybe it's in that order, maybe it's in a different order. But I think it's very difficult for Leicester, Arsenal, Tottenham, Everton and anybody else who wants to join the party to break into the top four. Of course, everybody starts on the same points and everyone's got the same opportunities. Of course they have. But I think it's going to be very, very difficult for them to break in because the squad depth of the Man City and the Chelsea eclipses Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal and Spurs, the bench of Man City and Chelsea is probably better than their first team. So it's very difficult for them. I think Liverpool are vulnerable. I do think Liverpool are vulnerable because if they get injuries again, we've seen what can happen to Liverpool when they lose 2 or 3 big players. So Liverpool are vulnerable, but can they be that unlucky again? They might enter the transfer market. And United are vulnerable because there's still that question mark around Solskjaer and the midfield. So there are opportunities. You can't sit there as a Leicester fan, an Arsenal fan, a Spurs fan, an Everton fan and go, we've got no chance of top 4. That's very rarely how football works. But if I was one of those fans, I'd write Man City and Chelsea off as top 4, and you'd be hoping that Liverpool collapse or United collapse, and that might be the way in. Steve Daly, thanks for subscribing with Prime. You're very, very welcome. You can subscribe with Prime, Amazon Prime. If you wish, I'll drop the link in the video description. You get a free subscription to a Twitch channel of your choice every month through Amazon Prime through that link. There you go. And please give us a follow, which is free. I will do a Premier League prediction video. That'll be coming up early next week, not this week. George 11 Abbott, thanks for subscribing as well. Steve Daly. COVID. I mean, I don't really want to talk about COVID, really, but, Matty United, thanks for subscribing. HTTP X Nick, thank you for subscribing as well. Top scorer in the Prem, etc. Christian 18. Well, I'm not going to start talking about that sort of stuff because then I'm delving into my Premier League prediction show, which I do before the start of every season. But ultimately, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to predict who's going to win the league. I do think Brentford will get relegated. There's a bit of a spoiler, but it's probably very on there. Luke says you'd talk about Clash of Creators at 3:00. Okay, I don't massively know how much people are interested in this. So look, we are talking football talk. We are talking transfer chat, and we will continue that over the next hour. But I'm also fully aware that there's been a lot going on. I did a video on my channel, Mark Goldbridge on YouTube, last Sunday. Clash of Creators was a massive event on Twitch. For 6 hours, they had anywhere between 16,000 and 20,000 live viewers on a 6-hour stream. This was held in East London, and basically it was exactly what it said on the tin. 4 teams, 11 aside, with a squad of about 15 on each of them. Red team, white team, navy blue team, light blue team. Semi-final to final, penalty shootout for 3rd place. You had people like Morgs, Rotashaw, Jack Mate, Thogden, Pieface, I'm Alex, Cal. It's just so many people there. So many people there. Big creators, new creators. I don't even call them little creators. New creators. Clash of Creators. And this was the idea, and it was for Mind Charity. And I'm sure a lot of you watched it. Spencer FC was there as well. I mean, there's loads of people I won't shout out, which is bad of me, but that's because there was just so many people there. And obviously, it's one of the first things post-COVID restrictions, so it was, lots of people there. Fantastic event. I think Clash of Creators 2 will be even better, and it was fantastic. And I did a video on my channel, which you can check out on YouTube, Mark Goldbridge. It's only about 15 minutes long, and it sort of tells you the story of what happened. And yeah, really, really, really good event. Very, very popular, and really, really enjoyed it. And then what happened during the week is that Loz and Brian at True Geordie on their Twitch channel, obviously doing what I'm doing now, had a few hours to fill, watched it back with them in the corner. I've done these sort of things, reacted to it, and instantly started pissing people off because I had messages from people. They were getting messages themselves about their commentary being spiteful, bitter, too close to the bone, derogatory. And then Jackmate did a video on YouTube basically saying he was very pissed off about it. And then last night that got released. And then Loz has replied apologising, and it's sort of, blown up a little bit. I think True Geordie was on his Twitch channel last night saying Loz shouldn't have apologised. It's a storm in a teacup, and I think that's where it is. Bumberclot says I dislike how Loz spoke about your commentary, Mark, on his high horse. But the reality is, I'm not massively bothered about that. I think if anyone's I know Loz, I know Brian. I wouldn't say I consider them mates. They may not consider me as a mate. That's absolutely fine. Jack mate, I consider him a mate. Really nice lad. I met a lot of people last Sunday for the first time. There's a lot of people I wanted to meet who I didn't see because I was commentating. And look, my perception of Morgs is my kids have grown up watching him. I think he's a prat, sitting in a bath, hiding from his mum. But I also know I've never met the guy, so my perception of him being a prat is because I find his content prattish. But I met him on the pitch. What a nice lad. What a nice lad. And, I'm not going to judge somebody on their content because people do that on me. And I think, you've always got to meet a person to know what they're actually like. And that's happened to me a lot in my career, is that I'll meet someone and they'll go, oh, actually, you're a nice guy in real life. And that's like, yeah, because I'm obnoxious on camera. That's the whole point, right? So if Loz or Brian had a problem with my commentary, then I just don't give a shit because, with all due respect, my Euros watch-alongs had way more than what they had, but I think what they do is fantastic. And that might be because they've moved to Twitch and I'm still on YouTube. I don't know, and I don't care, and I don't look at what they're doing because I've been on their show and it's fantastic, and they're really nice lads. So I'm not bothered. And if they're having a pop at my commentary, well didn't they get the piss taken out of them for their boxing commentary? Which, so whatever. Look, you're there to be critiqued. If you go live, you're there to be critiqued. I don't really care what they said about me. I didn't like the fact that I had a lot of people messaging me saying that they were offended by it, and I watched it back and I thought, you know what? I think the intention is to be funny, but it has overstepped the mark. And somebody said it last night on social media. With comedy, you're always safer punching up than punching down, because if you punch down, it can come across as being arrogant and everything like that. I did it on social media once. I was on social media on Twitter and getting a bit of shit, and I had a go at somebody about how they looked, and it didn't, they didn't like it. They DM'd me, I apologised about it. They still carried it on public, but I had apologised, and it made me think, you've got to be very careful about, having a go at somebody. And, I'm a firm believer in comedy. I think we are restricted too much, and I think comedy's fantastic. But on this situation, I've got to say, and I've got to speak honestly, people did get offended by it. It's been addressed. Loz has apologised about it, and that's really where it ends. I mean, look, we don't want to go back to the days of YouTube beef and all that sort of stuff. I don't like it when people start getting cancelled and stuff like that, when realistically they've apologised for it. I spoke to, Jack mate told me about the video, and I watched it, and I said to him, look, Loz will apologise for that. And, maybe some people didn't expect him to apologise. I knew he would apologise. I've spoken to him numerous times. I knew he would apologise, because as much as he's like having a laugh and that, I think he wouldn't never not be empathetic to the fact that it's offended people, and he did apologise straight away, and I predicted he would. I hadn't spoken to him. I haven't spoken to him about that, and he apologised. So what are we going to do as a society? Somebody does something wrong, they instantly apologise. We're not going to accept their apology. At the end of the day, I think we become like that in the football Twitter world, in football in general. Somebody does something, if the apology is sincere, why are we still going on about it? Is there any criminal offence there? No. Did it overstep the line with people? Yes, it did. I think it did a few times. Is it the end of the world? No. Is it a drop in the ocean, and will it be forgotten very quickly? Yes. But what I would categorically say, and thanks everybody who enjoyed my commentary, I would say that on my commentary, I'll come back to that in a minute actually, because I want to keep the flow here. I know Loz, I've met him a few times, and about 5 weeks ago, we had a problem with the United stand, which I needed to speak to somebody about, and he spoke to me for an hour, and his advice was really helpful. So I think in life generally, and definitely in this sports industry and football industry, people have each other's backs no matter what. I don't have people's backs no matter what. I'm loyal, but if one of my mates does something that's wrong, I will not have their back. I won't throw them under the bus publicly, but I will not have them back to their face. I will say, look, we are mates, I'm loyal, and we're going to be mates, but I think what you did there wasn't quite right. I'm still loyal, I'm still your mate, I've still got your back, but what you did there probably wasn't quite right. And I'm not talking about this situation, I'm talking in general. But I meet people in this industry that I'm friends with, but then they're friends with people I don't like, and they'll side with them because they've been friends with them longer. And I'm like, but they're wrong. You know what I mean? So look, I think in general, if somebody does something wrong, that's what makes it being about, isn't it? You've got to face up to it. So, but look, I don't want to see this whole, online abuse. Don't want to see any of that. It's dangerous. I think the fact that he apologised straight away, whether he should have apologised or not, well, that's down to some other people. I think he should have apologised, and he did. And that's the sincere person I know doing that and reacting to it. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's always in the main, well, no, always been, when we've met face to face, been good. And I don't really have a problem whether he likes my commentary or not. But it did offend other people. And I think it's been dealt with, and I think we need to just move on from it at the end of the day. It's not the end of the world. People have done a lot worse and got away with it. I've seen people in the summer on live streams doing things that are abysmal, and it just gets swept under the carpet. This was an attempt at comedy that hit the nail on the head with some people and offended others. Sometimes that happens. That does happen. But look, I think it will be moved on from. I don't want to see any beef from it. I think it was a fantastic event, and I really enjoyed it. And it's a shame that happened from it. But I don't want to see it carrying on anymore. I don't think we need to talk about it anymore. And I think, you know, we move on. There's a brand new football season starting in a couple of weeks. The transfer window is open. And I think what that event did, and, you know, 16 to 70-year-old lad put the event on, Callum. Tom did a great job. Everybody behind the scenes did a great job. It will happen again. And look, you know what? The way I look at it is this. And maybe I'm joking. Well, I am joking. Maybe Brian and Loz watched it, and a lot of that came from bitterness because they wished they'd actually gone to it. I don't know. That's probably not true. But maybe they watched it and went, this event actually was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. We should have gone to it. And I think Brian said that himself. Oh, we should have gone to this event. It was good. And maybe that's where it came from. Maybe subconsciously they were watching something and thinking, everyone's having a great time. It was a good day. We should have been at that. Maybe that's what it was all about. I don't know. But look, Loz is a nice lad from what I've seen of him. And I don't want to see him being targeted online or anything like that. And I think that the positive thing is, as I said, you know, production value, team of nobodies, whatever the negativity was, it was a huge success. Like, I've been doing streams for a very long time. Look, I've got 2,700 people watching me do this, right? And I'm talking about all sorts of things. And that, to me, is a good stream. That is a good stream. And thanks to all you legends for tuning in. We'll still be talking for another hour or so. Make sure you give me a follow and all that. 2,700, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Clash of Creators had 8 times that for 6 hours. And most of that was me commentating with Stumpeg, who I'd only met 5 minutes before we went live. How am I going to compete with Tilsley and McCoist or Loz and Brian when they've got relationships going for a long, long time? And I don't do it like them. And I've only just met this person. And I didn't know a lot of I genuinely, before we went live, it was like, have you got a list of everyone playing? And they were like, no. And they were having to provide that information because it was brilliant as an event, but it's very difficult to organise something when people are dropping out and dropping in. And I didn't know. I couldn't look at those. If I'm watching United and Arsenal, I know every single player. I don't need a team sheet. But on that situation, I've got 4 teams of 15 squads, and I knew 1 or 2 players. And I'm like, I can't just keep saying Jack Mate's having a good game or Spencer's having a good game. You've got to learn these players. So, look, I enjoyed it. My style of commentary is I don't want anyone to be like me. And if people don't like it, I don't care. Because the way I do it is the way I do it. And, you know, I'm not as intelligent as people like Loz. You know, very intelligent guy. I don't have a way with words like he does. And you know, I'm not like Martin Tyler. And I'm me. And that's what people always should be, is them. And if people like you and you're fortunate enough for people to like your content, fantastic. And what I mean by I'm not as intelligent is that I ramble. As anyone knows, I ramble. I go on tangents. I sometimes can't get the words out, you know, and some people find that interesting and like it, and some people think that's shit. That's life. You know what? I wanted to be a professional footballer. Wasn't good enough. Deal with it. I say that. I actually probably was good enough. But, yeah. How was Rocket? They were very harsh to him. Oh, well, look, you know what? I'm glad somebody said that. Rocket, people might not know, used to be on Soccer AM. I didn't get to talk to Rocket as long as I wanted to because, unfortunately, and this is why I want to play in the next one, if you're on the commentary team, you watch everything, but I bet I may as well be commentating from here with you because everything's going on ahead of you. You know, before the game, everyone's having a chat. In between games, everyone's having a chat, but I was busy. You know, I was busy for 5 hours. I don't think anybody got paid because it was for charity, but that was a long, hard day for nothing. And nobody ever thought about it being for nothing because it was for charity. But I didn't get to talk to people really because at the end, some people left, although I did have a pint. And before, I had about 10 minutes before it started. So I spoke to Rocket before. We played together at Old Trafford and he said, why aren't you playing? And I said, because they asked me to commentate and I've dropped enough hints to play and they won't take the hint. So I'm commentating. But we played together at Old Trafford and he's, you know, I don't know him that well. Met him a couple of times. Nice guy. So there you go. I'm better than Martin Tyler's username. You and Stumpeg got better as it went on, started to bounce off each other. Yeah, as I said, we don't literally only just met. So, you know, and also, let's be honest, whether people like it or not, I'm used to doing it on my own. I'm not used to having a co-presenter. I'm quite unique in the fact that I do it on my own. It's exhausting, but, you know, that's my style as well. I don't actually need a co-comment. Well, I like having one, but I don't normally have one either. Are you going to play fantasy football this year, says Ohando? I might do. We'll see how it goes. To be a partner, you need to only stream on Twitch. Yeah. Stumpeg is great. I'm glad you both did a collab, says Kuro. Yeah, very good. Another, and you know what? I don't know a lot of these people from Clash of Creators, but this week I've started following a lot of people on Instagram from there and looking at what they're doing, and it's opened my eyes to a world that I just don't have the time to look at. And I was aware about who Stumpeg was, but I wasn't aware of who a lot of them were. And you start looking at their content, you're seeing what they're doing. Fantastic. Love that Rashi finally getting his shoulder fixed, as Chris off. And all that is fair, but how can it be comedy telling a guy who suffered with mental health problems that he's not relevant? The Soccer AM guy, says Luke. Look, Johan says Flex is a proper snake. Oh shit, we better not go there. Sorry, this is what happens when you're reading stuff when you're not. Well, Thogden was quite angry with your commentary, says Johnny's every day. Mate, I genuinely think that... First of all, Loz has apologised, and, you know, a lot of that was trying... I don't like the word trying to be funny, because it makes it sound like he's a crap comedian, and he's a very intelligent guy. But a lot of that was coming from a place of, you know, being funny. And Bum Clark says, it reminded me of early YouTube, very raw. I loved it. You know what, though? Look, I'm all right, because I'm sat here now with my green screen, and I've got this digital screen behind, and I've got a good camera, and I think it looks good. Maybe some people would look at it and go, nah, I hate that. I absolutely hate it. It should be better. It should be in a studio. Whatever. Still me, whether I'm in a studio or not. It's still me talking, visually, whatever. But also, I could be 5 years ago with printed pictures of Old Trafford on blue tack and a normal wall behind me, and a desk with books up like that. Still me. I think high production value is fantastic, and look, what they do at the kickoff is fantastic. It really is. I've been there. You know, even their old set. They should do tours of that place, because you'd be so impressed. The flat, I don't know how Brian's got that flat. It's amazing. You know, the views, everything. It's amazing. The kitchen, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and the setup is brilliant. But I remember when we started United Stand, it was a Google Hangout. And ultimately, content is king. For me, content is king. It's all about the content. And, you know, I've been live on here for an hour and a half. People do this all the time. You just sit and chat and interact. Content is king. Do I need to be at Wembley running around doing keep-ups while I'm doing this? No. I probably could. But, you know, we're doing it this way. So, it's just not that deep. It's just not that deep. People have been offended. They let them know. On Thogden... I don't know whether he's genuinely offended or not. He messaged me. I don't know what he was even offended about. After the game, right, there was a lad who looked like Jack Grealish. The Poundland Jack Grealish, I called him, right? And Thogden came up to me and said, "What did you call me? What did you call me?" With a big smiley face. And I went, "What do you mean?" He says, "What was my nickname?" And I said, "Thogden, because I know who you are." The only reason I was calling him the Poundland Jack Grealish because I didn't know who he was. I'll probably get cancelled now because I was taking the piss out of someone I didn't know who it was. But, you know, obviously that was clear comedy. But so when I did my video on YouTube yesterday, you need to watch this to get context. The video I did on my YouTube channel yesterday, Mark Goldbridge reacting to Clash of Creators. When Thogden scored his goal, I took the piss out of him. I said he's a tap-in merchant. I don't think he's offended because he was messaging me last night about something else. But, you know, it is what it is. We need to move on from that. And let's not try to cancel people and all that sort of stuff. Ultimately, content is king. If you don't like something, don't watch it. A lot of people don't like my content. A lot of people do. Bless you if you do. Up yours if you don't. No, but seriously, if you don't, so what? Just leave me alone. Don't watch it. You don't watch it. How good was Spencer FC? Because I hear he fancies himself as a pro footballer. I played with Spencer, Old Trafford, a couple of years ago. I think he played left back or centre back, and I played centre mid. He always speaks glowingly about my performance that day. It's a shame the camera's footage was never really truly released. United did have it, and they didn't fucking send it. They had a camera there, like they do on match day, and I played 80 minutes at Old Trafford, and that footage just never got released. I can't remember the name of the brand that had it, but they never released it. But Spencer's he's a very good organiser, and his team won, didn't it? Got sent off at half time, but I don't know how old Spencer is. Is he 32 or something like that? So, yeah, he's a good player. My sort of player, the player I've been for the last 10 years when I do play as well. You become less about your legs and more about your head the older you get, and then when you become more of a Maldini or a Baresi, and he's that sort of a player. So he's a good player. Are you doing a fantasy league for your community? Says Apprentice. I think there already is one. Let's bring it back into other things as well. So we spoke about Liverpool. We've spoken about that. We spoke about Grealish. Let's take some questions then. What transfer is closest, Koundé or Grealish, says Dan Bro? They're both going to happen. I think Grealish will probably happen sooner, to be honest with you. Thanks, Raf. And YouTube viewers are more than Switch. You hit 1 million views many times this year, says Ram Prasad. Who's going to win La Liga? JP Reaper says who's going to win La Liga. I mean, that's a good question. Are you going to open yourself up to other leagues this season? Because last season I had no idea what was going on. It felt like the Premier League was being played every bloody day, which was fantastic, but it made me very, very focused on the Prem. Obviously the Champions League as well, and unfortunately Europa League, because that's where United were. I am going to take an interest in La Liga this year because I think the situation at Barcelona really intrigues me. But I don't think we'll be focusing on it outside of La Liga. I can't see a La Liga team doing well in the Champions League, really. Neves 90% club, says Carrigan. I would like to think that we would get Neves, but we're not Neves, not 90% club. Alex is tired, says, is Grealish 100% going to happen, or has it not been fully confirmed? It's not been fully deal done, confirmed, here we go yet, but I think it will happen. Somebody said, have you heard the release clause rumour? No, haven't. Who's going to win Serie A, says JP Reaper. I was thinking about this today. I've had a complete brain blank. Who is the manager of Inter Milan? Now Conte is left. I like F1. I'm going to watch it, Matthew Noble. What time's the race tomorrow? I do like the F1. I've got to go out tomorrow afternoon, though, so I'm hoping I won't miss it. Bundesliga I just can't get into. I've always watched Bundesliga highlight shows rather than games because remember when COVID first hit and the Bundesliga was back first and we used to watch it. I just can't get into the Bundesliga. 2 p.m. tomorrow and Lewis is on pole, says Mastermind. Coolio. Oh, Inzaghi's in charge of Inter. Forgive Shoot says, how will Grealish play at Man City with all those wingers? Don't really care, mate. It's down to him, innit? Up to him to produce. And Pep will have a clear vision as to why he wants to play by that sort of a player into his team. Bundesliga is dead, says Iandu. Well, they've got Haaland for another year. And look, Bayern Munich are a fantastic side. I don't feel sorry for Bayern Munich, but I think if they hadn't defended so badly in the first leg against PSG and they'd had Lewandowski, I think they would have been a real threat. Yeah. Are you going to go to any United games this season, says Matt? I will go to some United games, definitely, because it's been too long. I always used to go, even with United stand, I'd still try and get up to 1 or 2 a season. So having not been for a couple of years, I can't wait to go. Serie A looks interesting this season. Jose at Roma, Inzaghi at Inter, and Sarri at Lazio. Yeah, I think they'll Be very interesting. I mean, I think Nemanja Matic should go to the to the Serie A because it's a slower league. I'm very interested to see what Roma do with Mourinho, because I said it when I even said it when he was sacked by United, that's where Mourinho should go. He should go to Serie A. I don't think he needs to retire yet. I mean, how old is Jose? Jose Mourinho, Jose Mourinho, 58. So he doesn't need to retire yet. But I'm sure we'll see Mourinho back in the Premier League again as well. I'm sure we will. But he shouldn't come back to the Premier League because football's too quick for him now. But in Serie A, if he can do it anywhere, then he can do it in the Premier. If he's going to do it anywhere, he should be able to do it in Serie A, because it's a more tactical, slower league, and that should suit Mourinho better. And he had a very good record at Inter, didn't he? So, and I think the Premier League has moved on a lot in 10 years, whereas the Italian league is moving on, but it's still quite similar to what it was when he was there at Inter. When is the AFCON, Patrick? I don't know when the AFCON is. Ryan says, what's the one player you wanted at United that never happened? There's probably a better answer than this, but the first one that came to my mind was probably Ronaldinho, because we were very close to getting him, and you wonder what would have happened if we'd got him. Yeah. Fungus says, back in 2019, Villa lost 3-0 at Man City and the fans started chanting that Grealish was just a shit Joey Barton. I ain't got a problem with that, though. I haven't got a problem with that. It's like that tweet where I said Varane is shit. Context is key. The reality is that rivalry, it's like Sancho versus Grealish, okay? I spoke about this a little bit on United Stand last night, but I'm sure a lot of you weren't watching, so that's fine. Who's better, Grealish or Sancho? Reality is, I probably have said Grealish is better than Sancho at some point in the last 4 months, and there may well be a tweet there, right? But at what point does rivalry kick in? If Grealish goes to City and Man United buy Manchester United, my loyalty is with Sancho, and Sancho is therefore better than Grealish, because that's club rivalry. If Man City are beating Villa 3-0, and Man City fans start chanting he's just a shit Joey Barton, doesn't mean that they can't now say he's a great signing, because so much of that is about club rivalry and banter, and opinion changes as well. So, there's no issue with that at all. And as for that Varane is shit thing, let me just say, if you've seen the tweet where I said Varane is shit, that was from the Super League at half-time when Varane had made a mistake to let City score. So it's a defender who's let my biggest rival score. Well, one of my biggest rivals score. And it's a tweet within a game. There's no context with Varane being one of the best centre-backs in the world and a great signing for United. It's a tweet about a moment in a game. It's not a definitive statement. But people do that. It's like what we were talking about Clash of Creators. It becomes a definitive statement that somebody makes a mistake, so let's ruin them. And that's one of the things I hate about social media and modern society. It's like, these people who go back and, like these cricketers it's happened with and other people, where they go and dig these tweets out from when they were like 14 and then hold it against them when they're in their 20s. It's like the world has not learnt yet to disassociate itself with things that happened years ago that might not be in context. But, that's the world. It's a cancel culture, isn't it? Cancel culture. A hype train is close. We've got a hype train coming in. I don't really know how they go. To start a hype train, sub, gift, or use bits now to start a hype train. A hype train is close. Okay, so I'll drop the link in the video description. If you want to subscribe with Prime, you get a free subscription to a Twitch gaming channel of your choice if you've got Amazon Prime, which means obviously subscribe to my channel. Links in the video description for that. Come on, get in the chat with some good topics. I don't even mind if they're controversial. Come on, let's do it. We started off at 2. I was always going north of 4. Shamone, give us a follow as well, please. We were going to try and hit 108,000. FIFA career mode's on here as well, so that's a reason to follow. 4 episodes are on the channel at the moment. We are 200 followers away from 108,000. So please give us a follow if you're watching. Just click the follow button. And yeah, there are 4 episodes of our new FIFA career mode on the home page. About 5 hours of viewing to catch up, or just watch the last episode, which was fantastic. Talking of Man City, that game should go down there with my game against Man City in my career mode, which is on the last one. That's up there. I think I eclipsed Mourinho part the bus against Barcelona with Inter that game. Welcome to the club. Thanks Dan99947 for subscribing with Prime. Leon Bailey to Villa would be a good signing. Carolam says, have you seen the disgusting things that... No, well, I haven't, mate. I don't know what that's all about. So, let's have a look. Don't know why I can't see him. Okay, let's have a quick look. What else are people saying? Hype train has started, thank you. We don't do politics. Welcome to the... Thanks for subscribing, Dylan Covert. And... Thoughts on Sheffield Wednesday? I'd love to see them back in the Prem, not salty. Who'll be sacked first? Hey, we'll do that one, son of Rachel. That's a good one. We will do that one. I quite like that one. Good. So, who do you think will get sacked first? That is something I probably can do that I wouldn't include in my Premier League predictions. Who do I think will get sacked first? I would say that... Trying to think here. Very difficult. I suppose Arteta could be gone by Christmas. I don't think he will be, but if it goes wrong, it's a defining season for him. I think at the end of the day, Ollie's got to be included in that. Surely Ollie's got to be included in that. Just reading something there, sorry. Lost my way. I've been live for 2 hours. Yeah, I think Ollie won't get... Well, I can't say that because you can get clipped. I don't think Ollie will get the sack. I think it's impossible to fail. I think it'd be very hard for him to win the league, and I hope he does win the league, but I certainly think top 4 is nailed on, and if he's in the top 4, United don't sack managers. So, but Ollie, it could go wrong. It could go wrong for Arteta. It could go wrong for Nuno. It's never going to go wrong for Klopp enough. It's never going to go wrong for Pep or Tuchel. Benitez could have a bad run, Hasenhüttl, I think Southampton are normally quite good with, but look, at the end of the day, the trouble with Southampton is they are capable of going on bad runs, and I suppose this is the season where if he went on another bad run, they'd probably get rid of him. So yeah, I think that's my selection of managers there. Maybe Steve Bruce, yeah. But I was thinking more of big clubs, really. Bailey to Aston Villa, here we go. I like Leon Bailey. He was linked to United a few years ago. I'd like to see him in the Prem. 9-0 incoming again this season, says Danny, for Southampton. Villa done deal with Leon Bailey confirmed by Fabrizio just now. Let's just have a quick check on that. Spending some of their money. Fabrizio Romano. Done deal. Here we go. Let's have a look. Fabrizio Romano says, done deal. Aston Villa and Bayer Leverkusen have reached an agreement for the transfer of Leon Bailey. The agreement is subject to the player completing a medical and finalising personal terms. Official statement announces. There you go. Leon Bailey, deal done to Villa. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. It's all I fancy. Come on. You frog. I never even liked the Muppets. I used to like the Muppets when I was a kid, I suppose. Leon Bailey. So, yeah, I don't know how old Leon Bailey is now. Let's have a quick look. I mean, age isn't everything, unless he's 42, in which case that's a bad buy. Leon Bailey, he is a Jamaican footballer. Yeah, don't know how many caps he's got for Jamaica. There was talk of him, remember, was it before the Euros? There was this weird rumour that he was going to go and play for England, which obviously never happened. So he's still only 23. He's going to be 24 actually next week. 119 games for Bayer Leverkusen. Obviously played for Genk as well. I like him. I think he's a good player. I think he's a very good player, and I think it's a very good signing for somebody like Aston Villa, because if he was going to Arsenal or he's going to Manchester United, then people are going to go, ooh, Leon Bailey to Manchester United, and the pressure's probably a little bit different than what it is at Villa. He's a perfect signing for Villa, and we were talking about this a little while ago. Ollie Watkins, Matty Cash, Martinez in goal. Now they've brought Leon Bailey in. Look, obviously, I think Grealish will go. It'd be crazy not to go. I understand why Grealish would go, but Leon Bailey probably replaces Grealish because he can play. I think Leon Bailey, is he a right-footed left winger or is he a left-footed right winger? He normally plays. I think Leon Bailey does play off the right or that way. He plays off the right or the left. He can play either way, really. And if he flops at Villa. But if he does really well, the pressure's not really there for him when he goes to Villa. So I'm impressed by that signing by Aston Villa. I think he'll do well, and I think it's another good bit of business by Aston Villa. They brought Bendia in as well, so they basically replaced Grealish with Bendia and Leon Bailey. And to be fair to Villa, I mean, Jack Grealish is, I think, one of the best players in the Premier League. Get £100 million for him, get Leon Bailey and Bendia in. It's not bad business. You can't replace Jack Grealish. You know, he's too good to replace. But as replacements go, Leon Bailey and Bendia are right up Aston Villa's street. They are right up their street. Bendia has played in the Premier League and is a very good creator. Leon Bailey is a player that I think a lot of big teams have looked at and haven't quite gone for it. As I said, I remember Leon Bailey being linked to United when he was at Genk, 5 years ago. So it's a good signing. It's a sort of Leicester signing. I think Leon Bailey is a sort of Leicester signing. So, and look how many signings those have worked out. So, I think it's a good signing. Apparently, they've had a bid rejected for James Ward-Prowse. If I was Ward-Prowse, I'd go Villa. I would go Villa if I was Ward-Prowse. And I think it'd be a good signing for Villa. And I think it'd be a good bit of business for Southampton. But I think Villa will buy more players now. They've got money, and I think they will go and buy some more players. But Leon Bailey to Villa, it's not a surprise. It's not out of the blue. But it has been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano in the last few minutes that Leon Bailey is a done deal for Aston Villa. And that is a good bit of business for Aston Villa, without a shadow of a doubt. Very good bit of business. What are people saying in the chat? He's a left-footed left winger, says Rhino. Bendia, Watkins and Leon Bailey. You had him in your Villa career mode in FIFA 20, says Brooklyn. Oh yeah, I did actually. Thoughts on Dwight McNeil to Everton, says Jake. I tell you what, Dwight McNeil, good player as well. I like Dwight McNeil. In fact, very similar to Leon Bailey. Not in the fact that they're similar players, but if Villa had bought Dwight McNeil, I'd be saying the same sort of thing. And look, Dwight McNeil's only 21. He's only 21. He's younger than a lot of people think. He's not 22 until November. He seems to have been around for a long time. I think he'd be a very good signing for a Villa or an Everton or maybe even a Spurs. He's that sort of a player. He's ready to, with all due respect, take a step up from Burnley. So Dwight McNeil, 21. A lot of people don't realise how young he is. I think he'd be a good signing. Do you think Benitez will succeed at Everton, says D Fresh? I think Everton, what a manager they had with Ancelotti. I mean, he's now managing Real Madrid. That's the pedigree of Ancelotti. And Everton were boxing way above their weight with Ancelotti. Ancelotti is such a good coach. And I was very interested in what Everton did under Ancelotti, and unfortunately, the project never really got going because he went after a year. But in Benitez, they've probably bought in as good as a manager that they can. The worst thing Everton could have done was go and get, a Martinez from Belgium back or something like that. Benitez is the right sort of coach for Everton. I don't know whether it'll work. It's very difficult. I think it's very difficult for. I mean, look, I'm doing a FIFA career mode of Everton on this channel. You can check it out. Please give us a follow. But it's very difficult when you're managing an Everton or an Aston Villa, because they are clubs that are quite wealthy and they are clubs that are looking to join the top 6, 7 party. But the problem with Everton and Villa is that when you play United, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, you're expected to lose because they're bigger clubs. But then, when you're playing Burnley and Newcastle, they fancy their chances against you as well. Like Newcastle and Burnley play different against Everton than the way they do play against a United or a Liverpool, because they're the big boys and they expect that, they're almost a bit submissive at times. But when they play Everton, they're like, we fancy our chances. It's the same with West Ham. West Ham had a great season last year, but everybody would fancy their chances against West Ham, whether it's Brighton, whether it's Liverpool. So it's very difficult to do well with an Everton or a West Ham or a Villa, because everyone fancies their chances against you. So consistency is very hard because everyone goes at you, which is why West Ham did so well last season. I know, Brian says you should know a lot about losing against Burnley. I haven't played Burnley in my FIFA career mode yet. I'm looking forward to it. So make sure you give us a follow. Thoughts on Vieira and Palace, says Easy Name. Difficult job. Difficult. And we were talking about this, about the first managerial casualty. Not everybody can be successful. Vieira can't be successful at Palace. Benitez can't be successful at Everton. Dean Jones can't be successful at Villa. Moyes at West Ham. The top 4 clubs, Arteta, Nuno, they can't all be successful, because if you take all those clubs, you've just described the top 12. Bielsa at Leeds, team and consistency is hard. So I think it's going to be a very interesting season. But having said that, I do think that the top 4 picks itself. You got United, City, Chelsea, Liverpool. Top 4 pick itself, and the excitement is what order they will be in. That's the top 4. You've then got Leeds, Everton, West Ham, Arsenal, Spurs, Villa between 4th and 10th. Can Southampton, can Wolves, can anybody else break into that? That to me is where it's interesting. So yeah, interesting. Dean Smith. I knew Dean Jones. I knew it was a common name. Have we got anybody famous in the chat? Bonjmabdallah. Thanks for subscribing at tier 1. When I say that, what I mean is sometimes, when I do my walk home from Instagram and I'm pissed, I'll be looking at the chat and then it tells you when someone, like, not famous, when a creator or someone falls in. Ishmael's famous. Leicester, I forgot about Leicester as well, United Army. This is what I mean, that's 11 teams then, isn't it? F2 Freestylers is famous. There won't be anybody famous here because they won't subscribe. I'm Sean Dyche, Impressionist. Is that famous, as Danny? Do you think Koundé will go to Chelsea? Yeah, I do. Let's have a stretch. Strangle my hopes and make me pray to a God I'll never see, but who I betray. To the people. Hey, here's a question for you. I was watching Pieface, right? And he had Oasis on. How is he not getting copyright striked? I would never do that, but I would like to have some music in the background. How do you play music in the background and get away with it? Alex is tired, says he's got 1 million views on TikTok. Well done. Thoughts on Romero to Spurs? We've already spoken about that, Mark. You can find copyright-free music on YouTube. Yeah, but I doubt Oasis is. Bay to Villa is a good move, says Matt Wilden. Who do you think will be the main candidates for relegation this season? I actually think the quality of the promoted teams this season is better than last season. I think Brentford look a bit open to me. I think they're going to concede a lot of goals. Norwich always look like they're going to concede a lot of goals. And who was the other team that got promoted? Watford. Yeah, I think relegation's always quite boring. I don't think Brighton will go down. I think they play too good. I think Brighton have established themselves. I think West Brom were terrible at this. They were a yo-yo club, up, down, up, down, up, down. What you need to do is establish yourself. Like Burnley have done it, haven't they? Sean Dyche. Burnley used to get predicted to go down a lot. I think Brighton get predicted to go down a lot. I don't think Brighton or Burnley will go down. I think they've well established themselves as teams that know what to do to stay up. They're not going to be in the top 12, but they're not going to be in the bottom 3. So I would say, as boring as it is, the 3 promoted teams have got to be the favourites to go down. People are throwing Newcastle in, but again, I think Steve Bruce is street savvy enough to keep them up. But I think Watford will go down. Yeah. I mean, look, having said that, it's a bit like the top 4, isn't it? Man United, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, for me, have got top 4 on lockdown. But if one of them has a bad season, it opens the door to a Leicester or an Arsenal or whoever. Same with the relegation. You'd say Brentford, Norwich and Watford are favourites to go down. But if somebody has a really bad season, and it can happen, you have a bad start, you have a couple of injuries, the heads start to drop, maybe a Newcastle could go down. Maybe a Burnley could go down. But I don't think so, really. Thanks for subscribing, HasC91. If you want to subscribe, you can do so. I've dropped the link in the video description. That's not the link. That's not the link. That's my link to my channel. But Amazon Prime you can subscribe with. You get a free Twitch subscription each month if you've got Amazon Prime. Or you can do it the normal way. That's on the homepage for you. Or where it says subscribe. Oh, all my socials are on the homepage as well. Goldbridge Twitter, Goldbridge Instagram, Goldbridge YouTube. And if you click Goldbridge YouTube, that does take you to That's Football. Actually, that should take you to my personal channel. That's disappointing. That's disappointing. But yeah, do give me a follow on socials. Welcome to Connor H. Thank you for subscribing. What happened to Marcus who used to come on the watch-alongs? Oh, I don't know, mate. I mean, look, people come and go. People come and go. And that's just the way it is. I don't know why. I don't know why people try and create this YouTube beef. That's what I was talking about, the Clash of Creators thing. There's something happened. It's been apologised for. Let's move on. If you don't like that person's content, don't watch it. But I mean, I think the content they do is very good. Let's move on. People come and go. How you doing, Mark? Says Connor. He's from Ireland. I'm very good, and I can't. When can I come back to Ireland, Connor? When can I come back to Ireland? I had an event planned in Ireland and it got cancelled because of COVID, and I still have that event, but I don't know what the situation is in Ireland. Can you fly over and just go into a pub, or is it all outside at the moment? Bonge is in Dubai and he's going to study in England in university. Good luck, pal. I don't know who we're going to sign in relation to a midfielder at the moment. I wish I did. But watch the United stand this morning. Well, that's your information. Luke Jones, thanks for subscribing. Luke Jones 1712. Have you sorted everything with Kian? All I would say about me is I talk to a lot of people, or try to talk to a lot of people. Anyone who's got issues, they're doing it for different reasons. They're doing it for, I don't know. But I will talk to anybody. I'll give anybody a chance. Is it true you're the man from Fake Taxi, Mark? Says Jay the Geordie. I know what you mean. That ain't me. Everything opened back up in Ireland this week if you're vaccinated, says Jack. Cool. I'm coming over for Christmas. Not to your house, Jack, but I'm coming over for Christmas. I haven't been to Dublin in too long. Pubs are indoor if vaccinated now, yeah, and same with travelling. There's no restrictions, I think, if you're double vaccinated. So do you have to check that? Hazard says, would you ever go back to the kickoff with True Geordie? I've got to be asked to, mate. I've got to be asked to. I'm open to go back on that, but and I used to go on quite regularly, but I don't and haven't been asked for a very long time. So I would openly like to do it if I was asked to do it. But if you don't get asked to do it, you don't get asked to do it. I ain't gonna lose any sleep over it. But I like what they do. I like the people who do it, and I'm more than open to go and do it. But I won't hold my breath on that one. What do you think will happen with Haaland next season? I think he will score goals for Dortmund, and then I think next summer he will leave, and maybe he'll go to Manchester United. Looks like another City Academy player being sold. They've made 46 million from a handful of those players so far. Meanwhile, United sits on a squad of 144 players. Says Luke Jones. Sterling rejected a new contract. I don't know whether that's true. I don't know where the source of that is. When are we going to see more of that top quality acting we saw on the Paddy Power ad? Says Luke H. Oh, I love that advert. It was great. And I do like a bit of acting. So I'm working on something actually over the next few weeks that I'm really excited about. I can't say I'm proud of it because I've not even done it yet. But, it's probably the first project I've worked on that is actually never would have happened if it wasn't for you. And when I say you, I mean the collective you. I mean, I don't know how many of you watch my United Stand or That's Football or following me on Twitter or Instagram. And I mean the collective, because 6 years ago, I didn't really have any following. And 6 years later, I'm doing lots of things. And I work hard and I love the community. But this project I'm going to work on for the next few weeks is, if it works, I might be the only person who likes it, but it's something I want to do. And it's something, if it works out in the way I want it to work, it's going to be something I'm really proud of. And it will be on Mark Goldbridge YouTube. It won't be on That's Football. It won't be on Twitch. It won't be on United Stand. Therefore, it's a hint that it's not really football related. But I'm really hoping it works well, and I'm really excited about it. And ultimately, I'm thankful to all of you, because I wouldn't be able to do this project if it wasn't for the success of everything else, which is built by you. Luke T65 subscribed at tier 1. Thank you very much. Will the chart show come back in the new season? I'd like to bring the chart show back. Yeah, I mean, if I need to write that down, because the chart show is my show. I did the chart show. I was the first one to do the chart show. That's my idea. And I know people keep nicking my ideas and taking it off onto their own channels, but the reality is that was my idea. Like some other ideas that have been nicked as well. It's not a podcast. I'm not doing a podcast. If I had £1 for every time somebody said do a podcast, I'd have about £90. I'm not doing a podcast. You know why I wouldn't do a podcast, whether it's football related or not? Is this not what we've been doing for the last 2 hours? Our sort of podcast. And also, there's so many people doing great podcasts. Like, I used to love the I like the Happy Hour podcast. I'm on that. I think that's coming out tomorrow. There's loads of other podcasts I like. But if I did a podcast, I'd be trying to get the same sort of people. I like to do something different. I love going on podcasts. I really, really do. Joe Rogan won't be asking me on his podcast, I don't think. But I'm not. I'd never say never on a podcast, but like everybody's doing stuff. Yeah, me and Pieface are filming something next week on the project. Yeah, don't drill him for information. Yep. Do you agree with people that only use the back door in their house and not the front? I've become one of those people though, Luke T. We use the back door more than the front. That sounds wrong. What's your favourite Olympic sport, says Diva. I tell you what, last night, I have not watched hardly any of the Olympics. And normally I watch the Olympics. And I think it's the time issue. And I think it's the lack of crowd. The last 2 or 3 Olympics I've watched. I remember Barcelona in '92. It was the school summer holidays, and I basically sat and watched nearly everything, everything. And I was only about 92. I'd be about just started secondary school, I think, and I always watch the Olympics, but I've not watched hardly any of the Olympics this year. But last night, I don't know whether anybody saw it. The relay triathlon, where they swim, cycle and run. Bloody loved it. And Great Britain won the gold. It was fantastic. And I do love the Olympics, but I just haven't watched hardly any of it. I always like the cycling, the swimming. I've just not watched any of it, and I've probably missed most of it now. Mark, react to videos on YouTube. I already do it on my channel, Mark Goldbridge. Goldbridge Reacts. Have a look. Alex Yee is from my borough, says Thavis. Oh, it was fantastic, Alex Yee. Absolutely blitzed it on the running leg. Mate, people say go on this podcast, go on that podcast. One of the strangest things I find, I was on Instagram today, right? You got Jack, mate, on Instagram. Oh, this is the great thing about being a content creator. He opens up a West Ham box from West Ham. He gets a pair of trainers. He gets another... he opened up 4 freebies, right? I never get any bloody freebies. Never. Well, I'll tell a lie. Lyle and Scott have sent me some stuff, but they've stopped doing it now. I seem to... Look, this is... I'm not going to say I'm humble, because you can't say you're humble if you're humble. And I kept doing that on the interview I did purposely, and people just totally bit the bait. But I don't actually get asked to do a lot. I don't get asked on a lot of podcasts, and I don't get any freebies. It's one of the weird things I've found about this industry is that certain people do get a lot of freebies. They get a lot of invites. They get a lot of things, and I don't. You can answer that. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't. You know, my FIFA streams are very popular. I don't get asked to do anything by FIFA. My football streams are very popular. I don't get asked to do anything around football. I do a lot of lifestyle stuff that's very popular. I don't really get asked to do anything. Answers on a postcard to why. I've got a few ideas, really. One, there are certain people in this industry that I stood up to and tell lies about me, so that it probably infiltrate. In fact, I think that's one of the biggest reasons. And 2, I think my content is probably quite confident, so people assume things about me without actually meeting me. It's because you're not a yes man, says TXC. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a nice way of putting it. But no, there's 2 or 3 people in this industry that I stood up to at the start, and they basically spread lies about me. And the second reason, I think, is that my content is quite confident, so people take a dislike to me because it's confident and it's become successful, so they're bitter. I think that's what it's about. There's a lot of bitter bastards in this industry, basically. But look, most people who meet me say, "Oh, I thought you were a complete dickhead. You're really nice." And I go, "Thanks. That's the 100th time I've heard that." It's like, why can't people wait until why can't people make contact with people and then speak to them before making their mind up? Always tell my kids that. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't listen to what people tell you about somebody. That's a big lesson in life, actually. And you can use it with football. If somebody tells you don't get Ruben Neves because he's a load of shit, why would you listen to them? Go and watch Ruben Neves. Make your own mind up. It works with football and it works with real life as well. Your best mate says, "Oh, John from down the road's a complete dickhead." How many times do you think, "Yeah, he's my best mate, so I'm going to listen to him"? Make your own bloody mind up. Doesn't matter whether it's your best mate telling you something or not. Make your own mind up. It's like what I was on about before. I've got mates. I don't totally have their back on everything. That's not being a good mate. Being a good mate is not having the back of your mate when you know they've done something wrong. Being a good mate is saying, "I'm your mate, but I disagree with you on this." That's what proper friendship and mates is all about. And you never, ever, ever take your mate's word on other people, because they might have a reason for that. Well, Tiger says the same applies to the Lawrence situation. Well, yeah, it does. I consider Lawrence to be a mate. I don't know whether he considers me to be a mate, whatever. But ultimately, I think he's a nice guy, and I will say that to you openly. I think he's a nice guy because he's been a nice guy to me, and he's helped me out with a couple of things. Did I think what he said this week was inappropriate? I think some of it was, but he apologised for it, and that's what mates do. I don't agree with some of the things that he said, but he's apologised for it. I don't think he's that person. I think he's a nice guy. You move on. Is that not what being a mate is? Being honest with somebody and saying, "Look, I think you should have apologised." I didn't ask him to apologise. I knew he would apologise because I think that's the person he is. Yeah, United aren't going to send me the new kit because they know I'd burn it. I understand why United won't send me a new kit. Like, Jack's a West Ham fan. He gets a West Ham kit. They know he's going to open it and go, "Oh, cheers, West Ham. Put it on." United send me a United kit. They're probably thinking this could be a PR nightmare. What if he goes, "Oh, look, United have sent me a new kit. Give me the lighter. Up yours, the Glazers." Shh. I wouldn't do that, but yeah, I can understand that. We will have fan forums after the game on the United Stand. I think one of the signings of the summer for the United Stand, well, the signing of the summer for me is Levin. You know, he sent a video in, Lewandowski. He was on the show with me last night. We did something on the United Stand where we do it every transfer window, because I'm just a little bit silly like that. So when there's a transfer window open, we always say to our viewers, we're looking to get somebody new involved in the show. Send us your clips in. So Levin sent a clip in, and instantly I was like, oh, he's so good. And then he was on the show with me last night. He's been on a few shows recently. What a signing he's been. And I got him on a free. He is paid now, but we didn't have to pay a transfer fee. But yeah, he's fantastic, Levin. And he's on Twitch, Levin2K, so give him a follow. I did tell him to go live after me so we can raid and help each other. Well, I'm helping him. But yeah, he's really good. And I think he's got a great future in what he's doing, because I think he's brilliant on what he does on Twitch with his Fortnite stuff. And I think the chat we had about Neves and the holding midfielder yesterday is probably one of the best chats I've ever had with anybody, let alone on the United Stands. That went deeper than we've ever been before on a football on a football stream, to actually dissect a role and go, conductor, this is what we need. It was great. Absolutely loved it. How do you feel Varane will perform in the Premier League, says Ginger? I think he'll be fine, mate. I do. I'd put Varane in the Bruno category. I think he will hit the ground perfectly fine and be good. I mean, this is a guy who's won a World Cup. He's won Champions Leagues. He's not been living in La Liga, hiding under Ramos's shadow. He's played all around the world in different, for national team and Real Madrid. I think he'll be fine. I don't think there'll be an adjustment period at all. I didn't think there'd be an adjustment period with Bruno. I think there might be. An adjustment period with Sancho. I might be wrong, because he's younger. There's a bit more pressure on him. But with Varane, I think you're buying that experiencing. He's not dropping off. Varane's not dropping off. That's a load of crap. That's just bitter, jealous people, really. Do you have a team in mind for your first Football Manager 22 save? Yes. Football Manager doesn't come out till November. So that is questions then. When does FIFA come out? FIFA 22 comes out end of September. You can get it on early release, can't you? I think. Adam's on the show tomorrow, Jez. Yeah, good to have him back. And Ricky's on holiday at the moment, so he'll be back soon. So end of September for FIFA, and then Football Manager comes out in October. So Solihull Moors. And you'll understand why I'm going to do Solihull Moors, because I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff with Solihull Moors as well. Should have the new kits. I'm sponsoring the female team. I'm just waiting for the new kit. So again, this is something I've wanted to do, but it's been made possible by you. So my local team, I'm not born here. I've moved into this area, so my support for them is based on moving into the area. But I'm going to be sort of doing a lot of stuff around Solihull Moors. So if you want to get on that journey, you'll see it over the next season. That's Football is going to be on the shirt of the female women's team for Solihull Moors, and we're going to be doing stuff with the men's team as well. Very difficult league, the National League, and I'll be providing you insight into that. And it's going to be a bit of a story, really, across the season. I'm excited by that as well. A sort of behind the scenes of non-league football. And it's a bloody nightmare. The National League. So basically, in England, we've got the Premier League, the Championship, League One, League Two. Then you've got the National League, which used to be called the Conference League. So it's called the National League. There are 24 teams in it. They play 46 games. Only one team gets promoted. And then the next 6 teams go into some sort of playoff system. It's a bloody hard league. Picky, thanks for subscribing, and Dooley SD, thanks for subscribing as well. Big shout out to everyone who's subscribing. Really enjoyed this stream today, by the way. Twitch is just, the thing for me is people say, do Snapchat, do this, do that. I do things if it motivates me. Twitch took me a bit of time, but it's so different to YouTube. I love YouTube. It's my bread and butter. I love YouTube. Instagram, I've got into that. I like Instagram. Obviously, Twitter, I've been on the longest. But Twitch, I love it. I love the community on Twitch. It's just very, very different. And I'm glad to say I've moved my FIFA career mode over here. Football Manager will be on here. All my gaming stuff will be on here. So we're starting to compartmentalize things now because I've got my gaming and I'll do some of these chat things on Twitch. YouTube is the That's Football and United stand, and my own personal channel, which will be hopefully, you know, driving with Goldbridge, reacts, and cooking and all lifestyle stuff. Obviously, you know, so yeah, I love it. Fantastic. Really enjoyed it. The move over. Twitch is better than YouTube, says COT. It's got its own feel, Twitch. It's got its own feel. Eric C, thanks for subscribing. What's going to happen with Chelsea? Haaland, yes or no? Never. You think the thing with Chelsea is last week they weren't even looking at Koundé. Now they've nearly done the deal. You can't. There's 4.5 weeks left of this transfer window. They might be able to get Haaland. You just don't know. You just don't know. I would love. Somebody just said there, you know, in your React series, what would you like to do? I mean, look, I'd love to do reacting to Premier League goals. You can't do it, so I presume I never go near like reacting to Line of Duty. I'd love to react to Line of Duty because I've obviously been in that area of work, so I think it'd be quite funny. But I don't think you can do it, can you? Because if you react to something that's on the telly, they're gonna come after you, aren't they? So. TXC says the problem with Twitch is that the notifications are so inconsistent. Dooley, I'd love to do something with Solihull Hull Moors over 45s. I should go and train with them, shouldn't I? That'd be good. That's a good idea, actually. I'll write that down. I think notifications on Twitch are quite good, but YouTube's the same. Would I go on Love Island? I wouldn't go on Love Island. I wouldn't go on Big Brother. I wouldn't go on I'm a Celebrity because I don't think they could pay me enough for a start. And also, I get very restless doing the same. I'd get claustrophobic. I'd get claustrophobic. Anyway, you don't need notifications for me when I'm on Twitch or YouTube. Just follow me on Twitter at Mark Goldbridge. That's why I put the links out. If you get Steam Labs, you can do reacting on Twitch. People can pay to react to videos, says Matthew Noble. Matthew, you're a mod. You need to help me. Help me, please. Will Nee has been reacting to Love Island. Yeah, but he's probably got an agreement with Will Nee. I mean, he's got a bloody agreement with JD Sports. You know, they're probably paying him to react to it. I might DM him. He does follow me, actually. Matthew Noble, I need help. Drop in the message. Cheers, pal. Mark would shag all the girls and get kicked out. I bloody wouldn't. I'm like Beyonce. Got a ring on it. Mark, can we get a review of This Time with Alan Partridge season 2? Mate, I'd love to do that sort of stuff. I tell you what, though. I was speaking to somebody the other day. I've been moaning at. I got a film recommendation from Jack Mates a few weeks ago. Me and the wife watched it. It was fantastic. And I said, "Oh, are you into films?" And he said, "Yeah, big time." And I went, "Have you seen Heat?" And he went, "No." I said, "Have you seen The Town?" "No." "Have you seen The Departed?" "No." I said, "You're not into films, are you?" "Yeah." I said, "Well, you've got to watch those 3 films." He said, "I love thrillers." I went, "Well, the 3 are the best bloody thrillers there is. Forget Michael Jackson thriller. The The Town, The Departed." Well, listen to this. All 3 of them are on Amazon Prime. You can do something on Amazon Prime because they own Twitch where you have a film watch along with your subscribers. So we could watch Heat on here at some point and have me in the corner and a chat going on. And I've seen Heat so many times, I would more than happy watch it and chat about it. So we could do something like that. And they're all on Amazon Prime. So that's a reason to get Amazon Prime, and then you can use Amazon Prime to be a Twitch subscriber to my channel. Watch along parties are fun, says Callum of the Corner. Yeah, we could definitely do it. De Niro or Pacino? I like them both. I like them both, to be honest. Who's going to win the Community Shield? When is the Community Shield? What time's the kickoff for the Community Shield? Because I'll have to do a watch along for that. Only a week until we start doing proper watch alongs again. I can't wait. Yep. Henry says I'm a Notts County fan and can confirm the National League is a bloody nightmare. It is a nightmare, mate. Like the who got promoted then? Who got promoted last year? Because I thought Notts County would go up. I got you promoted on Football Manager, then I retired. But can you put the link out? I've got Amazon Prime. Yeah, I can. Amazon Prime. Matt Noble will probably do it quicker than me, but I will get it for you. Girls on film. Girls on film. The only thing I don't like about Twitch is that you can't share it to, get people on. And here's one for you again. Here's another one for you. You know how I said I don't get any freebies and I don't get many invites to do stuff? I don't get raided much either. Why do you think it is? Do you think people are jealous? I don't know. Anyway, there's the Amazon Prime link. Matthew Noble and me did it at the same time. There you go. Hartlepool got promoted via the playoffs. It was Sutton and Hartlepool. Ooh. I tell you what, it's going to be a National League. It's going to be really interesting next year because Notts County are not a National League club. They're better than that. Tyrese Palmer, massive. We're in sync, Matthew, yeah. Wrexham have just been taken over by those Hollywood stars. You see, Wrexham have got 2 Hollywood stars and Notts County are a massive club. Solihull Moors have got Goldbridge. So, let's bring it on. When's the next FIFA stream, Haid? Watch out on Twitter. I'll let you know. It's weekend. It's the weekend, so it's difficult. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the weekend. But it's very difficult to find time at the weekends. But it will be back. Weekdays are always the best, and I either do them at 11 o'clock or sort of 3 p.m. So. I would imagine it will be back. Community Shield is at 5:15 next Saturday. There you go. It's good. That's a good kick-off time, actually. Fancy a bit of that. 5:15 next Saturday. Oh, what time's United playing Everton, though? Oh, I bet it's going to clash. 12:45. Why are United kicking off at 12:45 next Saturday? Bloody hell, I thought it was an evening kick. Oh, there you go then. We can do both. No worries. I'm all about the bass. No treble. I haven't watched Fast and Furious 1, Arthur. It's not my cup of tea. Wrexham signed the League 2 top goal scorer and he's on 9k a week. Financial fair play gone mad, says Henry 4567891. So yeah, we've got 2 games next Sunday then, which is good. Matthew, thanks, pal. Just give me a big list and we'll work through it because I think when we first started, you were giving me suggestions and I wasn't on here frequently enough. But now I've moved FIFA career mode over. We need to do that. All right. Is he going to come on Twitch, Mrs. Goldbridge?
No, thanks.
All right. Do you want to come on, Seb? No. I've been snubbed by 2. Mrs. Goldbridge said no, and Seb said no. Boo! I pay your wages. Where do you think all the cans of beans and toast come from? And the taps. Who do you think pays for that? Severn Trent. The Departed watch along would be brilliant. That's the one I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. That's the first one I'm going to do, The Departed, because I haven't watched The Departed in ages. So when you do like, I suppose it's like a game watch along, isn't it? You talk about it. Any series recommendations, Bumclot? We're getting down to the hardcore now. 2,500 watching. Thanks everyone. Seb snubbed me. I can't believe it. He always wants to come on. He's not been on this set before as well. He'd really like it. Got Ed. Left me hanging. Have you ever done that? Put your hand out to give someone a high five and they've just snubbed you. It is funny I do it to people all the time. What's for tea? Cheeseburgers. I think I've really enjoyed this stream. You can't do this on YouTube. It's you know I do charity streams every year in November on the November international break, and I love it because you can just chat around all the time. You do this on YouTube, it just wouldn't work. You know, YouTube, it's got to be, what are you doing this minute? What are you 100 miles an hour. Don't go any more than an hour. But Twitch is good. She's not in a bikini, Farid. It's not that warm here. Would you take Conte? I like Conte. He's a good manager. Twitch is less toxic, Mark. Well, Twitch is less toxic, which that's why I have subscribers on, because it just makes it less toxic. Have you seen people just do nothing? I've seen people on Twitch, right, where they're live and they just play their game and they don't talk. Or they do just chatting and they don't talk. It's hilarious. I'm all for it. All for it. How have we done for followers today? Anyway, let's have a look. I mean, it's not the reason I'm doing it, but it's always nice to have a target. We hit 108,000. Bada bing, bada boom. 108,042. So make sure you give us a follow, everybody. I'm just going to shout out some of the new followers. O Super Squad, Vinny XX7, Isabella Umbrella. In fact, if you give me a follow now, I can see who's following and I can shout you out. Like AJ2873, Jinx, Pinky, Tom, It's Viper X, CTR, Daddy Pedro. Good, you've got an R in it. Maestro Baby, Meod, Callan, Ragath, M. Bulgin, Ripwell, Will Reed, McNeil is here, McKelly is here, Sharpie V2, Dexter Wezzy, Beastly Forehead, Luke Smith 1074, Joel's Jokes. I've just realised what you're doing. I'm an idiot. People are just unfollowing and then following. I could see the numbers there. But yeah, there's a way of doing that. I'm not doing it anymore, so don't do that. Garang, thank you. Do you think Juventus will bounce back strong? It's very difficult. I love Serie A, and I didn't really watch as much of it last. I mean, I watched no La Liga. I watched no Championship, but I did watch bits of Serie A. I think this season, it's hard to look past Inter because they haven't really made any changes, and they've still got Lukaku. I think if Lukaku went to Chelsea, I would move away, but Juventus have lost that air of invincibility, but they have got Allegri back. So I think Serie A will be very interesting this year. I'm looking forward. You know what? All I want to say is that as a world, and football is part of that, well done over the last year. To keep football going last year when COVID was up and down, and you know, the vaccine only really kicked in sort of springtime, didn't it? So we had a whole season of football, no fans in the ground, but we had a season of football. And look, Man City the champions, Chelsea won the Champions League. Well done. It's in the record books. No one can take that away. But it's like what I said about Man City could have won the quadruple last year. That would have hurt because it would have eclipsed the treble. But also, it would have. I don't think last year should have been a year for records being broken because it's not the same. And no fans in the ground, it's not the same. The great thing about this season, and fingers crossed it goes this way, we got fans back in the ground. And that makes every league more attractive to watch. So I can't wait to consume football next year, whether it's Solihull Moors in the National League, whether it's Serie A, La Liga, keeping an eye on the Championship, unlike I did last year. Obviously the Premier League, just really looking forward to it and seeing how it all builds out. And I think that having fans back, it just makes it different. And of course, Ronaldo is going to be at Juventus as well. So that makes them a very interesting team to keep an eye on as well. You should play FIFA against the Sidemen and Chris MD, says Dylan Covert. Well, there's somebody else as well. I follow Chris MD. He doesn't follow me. He full well knows who I am. Obviously, he just has made his opinion, hasn't he? Sidemen, I don't really know any of them. I didn't get to talk to Harry, which disappointed me because I was commentating and I like him. Zerka, I like. We've had a little bit of interaction, but yeah, I like them all. I've got a few ideas for FIFA 22, which we might be able to challenge them to. But yeah, looking forward to it. And look, Goldbridge is getting fit. I'm getting fit. I'm going to prove that you can still play football when you're past it. So yeah. Oh, Chris MD's an Arsenal fan. That probably explains quite a lot. Then I can understand it. I understand it. 11 2K, yes, that's what we're working on. Pro clubs for FIFA 22. I'm building a team, Levin. I'm building a team. I've got 3 or 4 already. What do you think about Preston North End? I'm amazed they're in the Championship, actually. I'd always imagine them in the lower league. Krishnan says, you've been snubbed by Mrs. Goldbridge and Seb. Nobody ever raids you. No one ever sends you any free things. You're not being invited on enough things. Why is everyone rejecting you? I don't know. I just don't get it. Answers on a postcard. I just don't get it. I'm such a nice guy. If anyone wants a small up-and-coming YouTuber, there's a great guy whose channel is Footy Adventures. He does a lot of small ground tours and stuff. Sounds good. Sounds good, Callum of the Corner. I will play Fall Guys again. I mean, I think this is a game. There needs to be a game like that. Right. If we've got anybody who's clever or intelligent, right, this is a game that would be brilliant. And it would be probably quite easy to make. It used to exist on the Amiga years ago. It's called Off-Road, right? You had 4 Jeeps. I think, in America, them stadiums where they've got loads of mud hills and 4x4s racing each other. Well, there used to be a game like that. It was all on one screen. It was all different tracks. It was easy buttons. And used to do like 10 laps with about 4 cars on it. There needs to be something like that with maybe 10 cars on it on one screen where you're all racing against each other online. It would be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I reckon people would love that. Monster trucks, yeah. Or Indy Heat was another one as well. It was like Indy cars going round tracks as well. Danny says, I'm from Preston and we're shit. I don't want Jesse to be a backup for Bruno. I want him to be £25 million in the bank to spend on somebody else. Favourite Premier League kit this season? Should I do a Premier League kit ranking? I know Thogden's done one. I always say Thogden and Dad. I could do a video next week ranking the Premier League kits. I'll probably piss Thogden off again. That's my idea. It's not your idea. But it is. You did it very well. But my ranking will be different to yours. Play Formula 1 with subs. Yes, that'd be good. Basically, I need somebody to come in and be my like Twitch gaming sort of manager to sort it all out. Mario Kart's good fun, but it's frustrating when you get hit by one of them shell things. I'm from Preston. We play shit football, says Danny P. Indy 500 is mental. Imagine doing that. Would love to go one day, says Callum of the Corner. Yeah, do home and away kits. Is it true you're doing something with Pieface? Yes. Play The Walking Dead. Fall Guys new season's out. Thoughts on Forest, says Josh. I like Sheffield Wednesday. I'd love to see them back in the Prem. Traditional clubs that I grew up with being in the Prem or Division 1. I will do a Premier League prediction video, Picky. I try and keep it... It'll be after the Community Shield because you've got to do it the week before, really. I think if you do it too soon, you're not... And look, the transfer window is still going to be open even before, so it's difficult. But I probably could about just do it now, but I'm just going to give it another week. When are we getting another episode of Goldbridge Investigates? Oh, that was good. The Peaky Blinders was fantastic. That is a good idea. If you're a young player, would you choose Feyenoord or MK Dons for a loan? Feyenoord. Can't go wrong going abroad. There is a game. Have you ever played Rock and Roll Race or Sensible Soccer on the Mega Drive? Sensible Soccer was my favourite football game ever. It was brilliant. It may be crap now, but it was brilliant. It was such a good game. And then when they released Sensible World of Soccer, where you could manage a team and get promoted and do transfers, we were so addicted to that in the mid-90s. There is a game called Wreckfest. It's a demolition derby game with 15 or so players. I'm going to check Wreckfest out. If there's a game out there, I'm more than willing to push people on it. Thanks for that from Fomorians77. Hill Climb Racing. Have a look at that. For me, you know what I was saying about like production against content? You know, some people get obsessed with production. For me, it's about the content. You know, it's about whether the content's good. Playability on a computer game. You can have the best... It's exactly the same thing. You can have the best graphics, but if the game's rubbish, it's rubbish. And playability with a computer game is exactly that. It's the same with this, isn't it? You know, you can have the best graphics in the world, but if you've got somebody boring in front of camera, you're going to struggle. I do like Rocket League, yeah, Lucas, it's good. And will you play Ultimate Team on FIFA 22? I think ultimately I probably will. Username, I didn't get to speak to Lauren at Clash of Creators. I did it with obviously Stuntpeg was co-commentary, but I didn't speak to that person. No, I didn't speak to the old, what's his name? I'm getting tired now. I've been streaming for too long. Went for Mayor of London. What's his name? I'm embarrassed that I can't remember his name. He was there as well. Didn't get to speak to him, even though he tweeted about me there. Nico, that's it. Nico, yeah. What a guy. Didn't get to speak to him, which was a shame. But there'll be more of these things. Honest opinion on Burnley, Jail. I do like Burnley. I've grown quite affection to Burnley. I'm looking forward to them playing them on FIFA Career Mode. Anyway, look, I could stream all day, and that's not the whole point. I've really enjoyed this stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Give us a follow. We need to raid somebody. Give us an idea about a raid because, you know, I'd love to raid somebody I know, but I don't think anybody I know is live at the moment. So do we know anybody that we could raid? Get in the chat. Let me know. I am live on the United Stand at 8 o'clock, yeah. Thanks everyone who's given us a follow. Thanks for everyone who's subscribed. Really enjoyed the stream. Some interesting chat points. Hopefully nothing too controversial. 108,000 done. 11 didn't go live, no. No, anybody I normally would raid is not live. Right, we're running out. We're running out of options here. What's Manny's name? What's the name of his channel? Of Manny. Let's have a look. Of Manny. Okay, we'll do that one. It's fine by me. It works. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'll see you all in a bit.
You're still in that game on Marcus.
Hey, Mark Goldbridge with the raid.
Was Wilson
Thank you.